But the team news for Arsenal, the big team news, is their number one, Daphne van Domselaar, who's made just one appearance in the last 2 months for them because of an ankle injury, is fit and she starts. That's their one change from their victory over Manchester United, which wrapped up second place in the WSL 2 weeks ago. One change for Barcelona as well. Claudia Pina is in for them as Barcelona get us underway. They have swept all before them in this competition in recent years. What can they do here against Arsenal? How can Arsenal stop them? Opening stages here, but a late goal at Wembley in the Championship playoff final. Aaron Paul.
Sunderland have scored in added on time. Sheffield United 1, Sunderland 2. The West End of Wembley goes absolutely nuts because Tommy Watson has fired home an absolute pile driver from around 30 yards out. Kiefer Moore's loose pass picked up by Watson, who drove towards the Sheffield United goal and just drilled a hopeful shot in, and it's nestled into the bottom corner of the net. Sheffield United now with the table turned very much firm. Sheffield United 1, Sunderland 2.
Thanks, Aaron. We'll be right back there for any late drama in the final stages at Wembley, and of course for the full-time whistle. Well, they did it in the playoff semi-finals against Coventry. Are they about to do it again in the playoff final, Sunderland, and make it to the Premier League? Here come Arsenal, opening exchanges of this Women's Champions League final here on BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Sounds and BBC London as well in the sunshine in Lisbon, as Catley plays it forward, too much on that, and it goes all the way through to Katakoi. So Izzy Christiansen focusing on this game. What do Arsenal need to do? What can they do to stop the machine that is Barcelona?
Pick the moments to be aggressive. It's hot. It is really hot out there. You know, the players are already looking like the wide players. Chloe Kelly, Caitlin Ford are being super aggressive, and that is the key. And Frida Marnham in that attacking role in the midfield, can she push on and help Alessia Russo? Because let's be honest, in this game today, Arsenal, they're going to know they're going to have to defend a lot, they're going to have to suffer, but what have they got in the final third to make that difference? Frida Marnham is key to the way Arsenal want to play today.
Well, they've had a couple of good spells of possession in these opening exchanges as Barcelona take their time over this goal kick, playing in their home kit, the dark blue and dark red shirts split down the middle, the dark blue shorts and the dark blue socks. Arsenal in their home kit as well, the red shirts with the white sleeves, the white shorts and the red socks, as Barcelona play the ball out to this right-hand side, playing from left to right in this first half. We'll take you through the lineups in a moment, but Aitana Bonmati, the two-time Ballon d'Or winner, the current holder as well, steers it back to that Barcelona defence, and here is Mappy Leon, applauded by the 15,000 Barcelona fans that have made the trip here to Lisbon for this Women's Champions League final, as Arsenal pick up possession outside their own penalty area, and Katie McCabe fizzes it back to Daphne van Domselaar, all in bright yellow. Just a word on her, Izzy. How key is it that Arsenal have their first choice goalkeeper in goal for this final?
Yeah, it's huge in terms of the way they play, and you know, if you're a commentator prepping for a game or a co-com, you write the predicted teams on your paper, your notes, and that was the only gap I left in the Arsenal 11. So I had 10 players on the sheet, but not the goalkeeper. But huge for Arsenal to have their starting number one in there. In terms of the way they want to play, she's massive with the ball and without the ball. She has that kind of aura about her which will give Arsenal's backline super confidence in the game.
And it's been a good start from the Gunners. They've won a throw midway through the Barcelona half in the sunshine over on the far side. It's taken long, looking for the run of Frida Leonardson-Mornham, who's just eased off the ball, and Barcelona have a goal kick. So for Arsenal in goal, it's Daphne van Domselaar. The back four of Emily Fox, Leah Williamson, the England captain, Steph Catley and Katie McCabe. Ahead of them, it's Kim Little, the Arsenal skipper, and Mariona Caldente, formerly of Barcelona, won the Champions League 3 times with the side that she's facing today. And then ahead of them, Chloe Kelly, Frida Leonardson-Mornham and Caitlin Ford, supporting Alessia Russo up front, as Barcelona in possession with Mappy Leon, goes to Alexia Putellas, another 2-time Ballon d'Or winner. Just the 4 Ballon d'Ors that Barcelona, I should say, have between them in their midfield this afternoon. But again, another good interception by Arsenal, and here goes Caitlin Ford driving over the halfway line, looks for the run of Russo, but Russo had gone left. Ford goes right with that ball, and it's all the way through with Katakoi, the Spain number 1, who is in goal for Barcelona. Their back four, Ivona Badje, Irene Paredes, Mappy Leon and Fridolina Rolfe. Ahead of them, it's that formidable trio, Aitana Bonmati, Alexia Putellas, 2 Ballon d'Ors each, and Patrick Guiaro. And then Carolina Graham-Hansen, Claudia Pina, who's in brilliant form in the Champions League this season, 10 goals, she's the top scorer in the competition. And Eva Pyle, who has a quite ridiculous 43 goals in 45 appearances for Barcelona this season, as Barcelona drive down the left-hand side, cutting in central now. Here is Carolina Graham-Hansen, right-hand side of the penalty area, 2 red shirts with her, goalless in the early stages here in the Women's Champions League final, as Badie loses out for Barcelona, lays it off to Guillaro. Arsenal again get the foot in, but will spin out to this right-hand side. Graham-Hansen, though, won't keep it in, and it's a throw to Arsenal deep inside their own half. Is it Christensen?
Yeah, it's been a good start from Arsenal, but I've already identified, I think, what could be an issue for Arsenal out of possession is Barcelona being really clever, overloading the Arsenal's right-hand side to Barcelona's left. They're pinning Kim Little and they're overloading the wide area, and that is how Barcelona are escaping Arsenal's press in these early stages, and that is definitely one we can keep an eye on in terms of how Barcelona want to switch the play and make Arsenal move, cover the width of the pitch.
Arsenal with this throw, it's taken by the Republic of Ireland captain Katie McCabe. A reminder, Sunderland leading Sheffield United 2-1 deep in added time after scoring late at Wembley in the Championship playoff final. The Scottish Cup final has gone to extra time. Eilidh Barber's keeping us right up to date with that as the ball goes out of play for an Arsenal throw.
Yeah, passes like that, do you know what? I kind of think Mappy Leon, left-sided centre-back for Barcelona, just passed the ball straight out of play. And it's moments like that that start adding a little bit of spice, a little bit of something to the way that Arsenal play. If Barcelona start making unforced errors, it starts to ooze and help Arsenal ooze confidence and move into this game.
Here goes Caitlin Ford, but too much on that ball for Katie McCabe as she cuts it out to the left-hand side. And the ball is Barcelona's with Ona Badie, the former Manchester United player. One of those with previous experience of winning the Champions League with Barcelona. Is a lovely turn by Patrick Guillaro, gets the Barcelona fans off their feet. Eva Pyle, their top scorer, is charging towards the penalty area, but Van Domselaar charges herself. Good clearance from the Arsenal goalkeeper as they come down the left-hand side. Barcelona with Fridolina Rolfö, and the ball is cleared out of play by Arsenal. Good defending there by the USA international Emily Fox. Barcelona have the throw, they take it quickly. Here is Rolfö, receives the ball back on the left-hand side, has Alexia Putellas available. Barcelona have a player down, the header is in from Eva Pyle. I'll tell you what, referee said play on there. The header was just wide from Barcelona's top scorer. It's one of those where Daphne Van Domselaar leaves it and says, I think that's going wide. But the cheers you hear around the Estadio José Alvalade here in Lisbon, and because Barcelona have a player down on the far side, it's Claudia Pina. They wanted a free kick for that. The referee said play on, and Barcelona's top scorer squandered the chance.
It's Chloe Kelly on Claudia Pina. Kelly doing the defensive work back in that sort of right-hand sided area, right back area, and she's just caught Claudia Pina late. And Claudia Pina, I'm going to be honest here, she's made the most of it. And those are the sorts of moments, again, I'll say it, Arsenal need to be aggressive and leave one on Barcelona at times.
Full time at Wembley, Aaron Paul.
After 8 long years, Sunderland are back in the Premier League. They've beaten Sheffield United by 2-1. Tyrese Campbell putting the blades ahead, and then just when hope was fading, a stunning strike from Eliza Mayenda hit them level, and then the local boy Tommy Watson on his way to Brighton has left his boy club with the best present he could have, and a brilliant goal that has sent Sunderland back to the Premier League. Tommy Smith alongside me for this one. Wow.
Wow's absolutely right, Az. I'm absolutely shell-shocked, I'll be honest. I thought we were headed into extra time. The game looked as though it was just fizzling out, and then another moment of real quality from Sunderland. Up steps Tommy Watson. He curls one into the bottom corner and sends the Sunderland fans into absolute raptures. They're back in the Premier League, and you've got to say they deserve it on the second half showing.
Absolutely. Sheffield United 1, Sunderland 2. Vicky, Sunderland back in the Premier League.
Here come Barcelona into the penalty area, punched away by Van Domselaar. Arsenal give the ball away inside their own box, and Nia Williamson just about gets a foot in. Still not clearing it properly, Arsenal. They're trying to play their way out of trouble. Eventually they do so, and here goes Emily Fox down the right-hand side, but those were nervy moments there for Arsenal, and we just saw, Izzy, those connections that Barcelona can find anywhere on the pitch, but when they do it in your own box, it's rather alarming.
Bizarre, absolutely bizarre from Arsenal at the back, dealing with that pressure from Barcelona. They tried to clear the ball 2-3 times, and they're just trying to pass it out of their own box under pressure, blind passes, and that is not the way to play against Barcelona.
So Arsenal playing the ball forward, looking for the run of Alessia Russo. Offside claimed by Barcelona, and the flag eventually does go up. They made the interception anyway. And Katakoi has the ball. So Sunderland back in the Premier League. I'm sure Sunderland fans will want to have your say on 606 this evening. That starts at 7:30. 08085 909 693. If you're a Sheffield United fan, give us a call as well, as Barcelona in possession in this Women's Champions League final. 9.5 minutes. It's flown by here on 5 Live. BBC Sounds.
Alessia Russo wasn't offside then. Just seen it, but it didn't feel like it at the time. And then I've just seen the replay on the television screen in front of us, and she isn't offside. I saw Renee Slagers looking on the iPad they have down in the bench on the TV screens as well, and she was clearly checking it. And that was an opportunity for Arsenal to get Russo in behind, and that's something to keep an eye on as well in the match.
Arsenal in possession, cleared forward, but nobody really there down that left-hand side. Alessia Russo will gallantly chase it, but it's intercepted by Ona Badje relatively comfortably, and Leon has it for Barcelona midway through her own half.
Yeah, I just think in terms of, I don't want to jinx it, but it's been a really good start from Arsenal, apart from that little weird defensive passage we've just seen there, where they're playing crazy football around their own box. But I think it's been a really good start. They've looked compact and tight.
And here they go again with the former Barcelona player Mariona Caldente, Arsenal's player of the season, won the WSL Player of the Year award as well. They are a side, Arsenal, packed with quality. It's just that Barcelona have been so good in the Champions League this season. But as Izzy Christensen says, they have started well. So the ball is swung into the area, looking for the run of Ford at the far post. She met it, she heads it right across goal. That is a warning for Barcelona.
You know, that's an absolutely delicious ball in. Of course it is, it's Caldente. She fizzes it to the back stick where Caitlin Ford, she attacks the ball perfectly. Sorry, it was Kim Little. It was Kim Little in that sort of midfield half space. Caitlin Ford tries to head it back across goal. Decent connection, but not quite the direction. But that was a really good little moment for Arsenal.
Here come Barcelona midway through their own half. Patrick Guijarro sends it forward to Alexia Putellas. Arsenal fans have travelled in their numbers as well. Fewer than Barcelona, but they've got around 4,500 of them right opposite us in the sunshine, all wearing their red shirts, and before the game holding up their red and white banners as well, supporting Arsenal as Barcelona play the ball towards the Arsenal penalty area. It's goalless here on 5 Live, BBC Sounds and BBC Radio London, as Carolina Graham-Hansen picks it up for the reigning European champions. Badje now plays it into the penalty area. Bonmati, clever footwork, completely scuffed the shot, and Daphne Van Domselaar dives on it. Well, I tell you what, that's a collector's item. You do not see Aitana Bonmati lose a call like that very often.
Yeah, it's, again, beautiful bit of play from Barcelona. The chop from Aitana Bonmati inside the box. She shifts it onto her left foot. She sells Steph Catley a dream, and it's actually the covering defender. I think it's Chloe Kelly sliding across. Excellent from her, doubling up, and she just manages to get the deflection. Van Domselaar catches it. But that is where Barcelona are dangerous, getting the overloads on the wide areas. Another thing I've noticed, Vicky, just to say, Barcelona are looking to go long early, over the top of Catley and Williamson. And if anyone saw the last WSL game that Arsenal played when they lost to Brighton, the second to last game of the season, Brighton caused Arsenal havoc in behind, and Barcelona clearly watched that video.
Izzy Christensen, the former England midfielder and Champions League winner with Lyon, here with us on 5 Live and BBC Sounds this afternoon, as Arsenal have the ball just outside their own penalty area with Daphne Van Domselaar. As we say, it's been such a long wait for the Gunners to get back to the European final. 18 years it's been since they won that unprecedented quadruple back in 2007, as Ford chips the ball into the area. It's a good delivery, and it's volleyed over on the angle by Chloe Kelly, who picked up the perfect position. And again, the movement from Arsenal around Barcelona's penalty area, they're finding the spaces.
They've been doing it all season, this sort of winger movement they do. Caitlin Ford and Chloe Kelly, they pin the fullbacks inside and then they spin in the space. And the reason it's so effective is because Arsenal have got fullbacks, especially Katie McCabe, who can fizz the ball with their left foot down the channel. And Ona Battier has got a problem up against Caitlin Ford in these early exchanges. You can see it. That is definitely a battle to keep your eye on.
Arsenal pick up possession once again, just inside their own half. It has been a really good start for the Gunners against the side that have been so dominant in Europe in recent years. Barcelona, as their fans raise their voice here in Lisbon, looking to win their third Champions League title in a row, as that ball has too much on it for Arsenal all the way through, with Kata Coy to the Scottish Cup final. We're in extra time. Ailey Barber.
It is still Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1. Celtic trying to find an opener to unlock this Aberdeen defence. It's been a cup final of very few goal-mouth opportunities, but Daizan Maeda will be kicking himself. He had a huge one just before the final whistle was blown, and it was a brilliant save from the Aberdeen goalkeeper. We've not had much in terms of anything like that in this extra time as Celtic push forward again. But as we head towards the break of the first half of extra time, it is still Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1.
Thanks very much, Ailey, and you can listen to that match over on Sports Extra 3. Just go to the BBC Sounds app and scroll through the radio dial at the top of the page until you find Sports Extra 3. If you want to listen to extra time and who knows, possibly penalties in the Scottish Cup final. Barcelona winning a throw on this near side. 15 minutes gone in this Women's Champions League final, and you talk, Izzy, about the width that Arsenal have, the likes of Chloe Kelly on loan from Manchester City and Caitlin Ford, Frida Marnham can pop up there as well. It's been such a strength of their play as Barcelona win a corner, and it's something that the Barca manager Pere Romeu highlighted in terms of the difference between when they beat Chelsea in the semi-final, saying, look, Chelsea sit back and hit you on the break, Arsenal really aggressive in an attacking sense and have the wide players that can cause damage.
Yeah, that's right, and Arsenal are at their best when they are really, really aggressive. But with the heat out there on the pitch, you've got to pick the moments to be aggressive, because when you go, there's no point in going at 70%, you've got to go 100, and that's where Arsenal got to really manage the game.
So corner from this near side for Barcelona. Mappy Leon, the set-piece taking centre-half, he's over to take it. And she swings it in left-footed into a crowded 6-yard box. Arsenal make first contact. It's a good header away by the striker Alessia Russo, who's back there defending for the Gunners, but they're so deep, the red shirts. As Barcelona pick it up just outside the centre circle with Aitana Bonmati, and now Mappy Leon. Bonmati, incidentally, who has strapping on her wrist because she actually injured her wrist in the warm-up when a teammate pulled her back in one of the warm-up drills they were doing. I don't think she was particularly happy about that, heading into the Champions League final as Pina sends the ball in. It's punched up in the air by Van Domselaar. Graham Hudson trying to get underneath it. Chloe Kelly heads it away for Arsenal, who will try and counter, but it's well steered back by Mappy Leon all the way to Katakoi, all in bright green here in Lisbon, as Leon picks it up once again. Out to the right-hand side she goes. Goalless here in the Women's Champions League final. Arsenal, who have become the only British side to reach the final of this competition twice, looking to win it once again. They're the only British club to have done so in the women's game, as they defend well inside their own penalty area. Ball played out to this left-hand side, and Chloe Kelly goes down, doesn't get a free kick from our referee Ivana Mancincic, but they do retain possession. Eventually it won't be kept in, and eventually the referee does give a free kick, separate foul, little push on Alessia Russo, and that hold-up play, Izzy, is going to be key as Arsenal have a free kick just inside their own half. Yeah,
it's been good, really good sort of opening 17, 18 minutes or so for Arsenal. I think, do you know what, I'm just looking at the body language of all the players, the Arsenal players, and the organisation and sort of communication, the way the players communicate with each other visually, you know, with the arms pointing and the sort of body language. They look so focused, they look so sharp, and they look so organised. And I know we're early on in the game, but this has gone swimmingly well so far for Renée Slegers.
Played forward by Arsenal. Barcelona make the interception, but Chloe Kelly up on the left-hand side at the moment. Gets the foot in. So does Ona Badje, though, for Barcelona, and it's steered all the way back to Katakoi. Leah Williamson was speaking to Joe Curry of BBC Sport in the build-up to this game, talking about that underdogs tag. And she said, look, you know, I understand it. We know what Barcelona have done this season in the Champions League, what they've done in recent years in the Champions League. On paper, it's accurate, but we are not coming here with the mentality of underdogs. You know, sometimes teams, as Arsenal have it outside their own penalty area, teams will lean into that. They'll use that as motivation. That is not how Arsenal have mentally approached this game. They've approached it, they can't keep the ball in on the halfway line. Barcelona have a throw. They've approached it thinking we're a good team and we're coming here to win it. We're not leaning into this underdog designation, even if on paper, yes, Barcelona are the favourites.
It's an unsustainable way of working that. I think you've got to believe in your processes and believe in what you do, and you know, if you can execute for 90 minutes or even extra time as well to the best of your ability, that's what you need to focus on. And so far, like I said, Arsenal have really focused on the processes that have got them to this point. They've just got to keep searching for that high level of performance, high level of attacking quality that we've seen throughout this competition this season.
As Barcelona win a throw on the far side. Well, speaking of extra time, we are in extra time in the Scottish Cup final. It's still 1-1 between Aberdeen and Celtic. Sunderland with a late goal against Sheffield United have been promoted to the Premier League as Barcelona play the ball into the area. Cleared away by Arsenal, a little nervily, but Leonard Simornan gets something else on it to help it further up towards halfway. Arsenal though, can't retain possession. Guijarro, though, can't find a teammate for Barcelona, and it is out for an Arsenal goal kick. Speaking of the Scottish Cup final, it's half-time at Hampden Park. Ailey Barber.
Yeah, half-time of extra time, still nothing to split these two teams, but there are some broken bodies down there, particularly in the red and white of Aberdeen. I can see a couple of players getting some work on the old calves and hamstrings to try and get them through these additional 15 minutes. And if you go back to the last time they won the Scottish Cup 35 years ago, they won it by beating Celtic on penalties. Could history be about to repeat itself, or will Celtic find a way to yet another domestic treble? Brendan Rodgers, he's unbeaten at Hampden Park. Could today be the day that comes undone? We will find out. We've got 15 minutes left to go before the dreaded penalty shootout, unless we can find a winner. At half-time of extra time, it is Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1.
Commentary over on Sports Extra 3, just search for that on BBC Sounds, as Alessia Russo loses the ball outside the Barcelona penalty area, won't be kept in by Bonmati, and Arsenal have a throw. 20 minutes gone, it's goalless between the Gunners and the reigning European champions, as Russo flicks the ball over ahead into the penalty area, cleared away very calmly by Mapi Leon. Kazakoya come as well, the goalkeeper, but Leon dealt with it. Nice play by Patrick Guijarro. The close control of that Barcelona midfield three is absolutely on point, as the clearance isn't quite on point, goes out of play for an Arsenal throw. But again, Izzy, Arsenal are going to take so much confidence from the way that they have started this game.
Yeah, they've picked and chosen so far really well in terms of the moments where they're going to go and be aggressive, and they've recognised that once they get tight and around Barcelona, they've got the opportunity to be aggressive and try and win the ball off them and disrupt their rhythm. And now Arsenal have got the ball, they can circulate it, they can try and play and do what they do in the final third and be offensive.
This is really nicely worked down the right-hand side, ball into the area for us. Oh, it's an own goal! Irene Paredes sliding in has steered the ball into her own net, and Arsenal have taken the lead in Lisbon against Barcelona. There's a possible suspicion of offside in the build-up. Barcelona's players are surrounding the referee, and we do have VAR, and it's come up on our screen. They will be checking the goal. You said it, Izzy, just as that ball went down the right-hand side, you thought it was offside. Let's see from the replay. Is this going to be... No, it's not. It's going to be ruled out. That is offside. They don't know it yet in the stadium, but they're going to have to curb those celebrations, the Arsenal fans. But let's just talk about the movement there from Arsenal. Yes, it's not going to stand, but it shows that they can hurt Barcelona, because it wasn't too far away. And just a little bit of nerves there from Paredes.
Yeah, it's really good offensive final third play from Arsenal. It's perfect, if anything, apart from if this is going to be offside. Yeah, there we go. It was a brilliant run. Marnham just failed to time it a fraction of a second later. But that is a massive warning sign for Barcelona, because they have not been at the races yet in this opening 20 minutes.
And you just hope, from an Arsenal point of view, that exactly what you just said there, Izzy, doesn't wake them up.
It's poised, but that's a big moment in this game. Paredes, she's a player with super quality, but we all know doesn't do too much defending in La Liga, in the domestic league in Spain. And that was a really big mistake from her, and this is where Arsenal need to smell blood. They need to go and put real pressure on her as an individual now and say, do you know what, she's shaky, we need to get the ball up to Rusu, get Paredes pinned in behind, make her make fouls, make her make mistakes.
Yeah, champions of Spain this season, Barcelona, for the 6th time running, as they bring it down the left-hand side. But you can hear, just as Izzy says, what that has done to the Barcelona fans here. Huge cheers as that goal for Arsenal was ruled out rightly for offside, as Graham Hansen controls beautifully with their head down this right-hand side, then stands on the ball. That pretty much sums up Barcelona so far. A few too many individual errors as Barcelona pick it up on the halfway line. We'll be back at Hampden shortly, but Barcelona building. Here is Bonmati out to the right-hand side. Graham Hansen picks it up on the right touchline, and Badje very patiently back to Putellas, and now Graham Hansen, and this is where Barcelona are dangerous with these combinations. Bonmati, Graham Hansen into the area, cleared away by Williamson for Arsenal. Badge trying to latch onto it, can't do so, robbed by her former teammate Caldente, and here come Arsenal over the halfway line with Caitlin Ford. She's just got Russo ahead of her at the moment, so Ford drives, looking to advance towards that corner flag on this near side. She's got Anna Badge with her, but Ford's done really well there. Then gets a little push in the back, goes down. Ivana Martincic, the referee, says no foul. It is an Arsenal throw. Let's head to Hampden, Ailey Barber.
That Jeffrey Schlupp, and that's hit the crossbar and gone over. Has it? No, it's come back in. It's recycled. Now Aberdeen get it clear. What an effort from Jeffrey Schlupp. But minutes before that, a huge chance for Aberdeen. Paul Vara in loads of space in the box from a corner. He caught the volley so sweet, but it just grazed over the top of the bar.
Ball to Arsenal. Here they go inside the penalty area. Emily Fox just can't get the shot away. Completely unmarked from 12 yards out. And Barcelona survived. This is a really good spell here for Arsenal. They've had a goal ruled out, rightly so, for offside, but they are finding these pockets of space inside the penalty area. A reminder, if you want to listen to the Scottish Cup final in extra time, you can do that on Sports Extra 3. Barcelona in possession midway through their own half. It's 0-0, 25 minutes gone here in Lisbon on 5 Live BBC Sounds and BBC London. Izzy Christensen.
That's exactly what I was talking about in terms of get Russo tight on Paredes, because she's a bit of a wounded animal at the moment. I know the goal didn't count, but her confidence will be shook by that own goal that was chalked off. And Russo just spins in behind, gets the touch inside, fizzes it to the back stick, and it's Emily Fox, right back, who you probably, out of everyone you want at the back post, it's probably not Emily Fox, because you want your offensive players in there. But that just goes to show how front-footed Arsenal have been in this opening half, because they're getting their fullbacks high, but in those areas, got to finish with an attempt on goal.
Yeah, she has bagged her first Arsenal goals this season, Emily Fox, 2 of them. As Izzy says, they've got players they would much rather be on the end of those. But again, the positivity of picking up those positions and finding the gaps in the Barcelona defence, as Carolina Kram-Hansen does really well there, leaves 2 Arsenal players, Ford and Caldente, on the floor in her wake. But Arsenal get the foot in and pick it up with Katie McCabe. Here she comes down the left-hand side. It's goalless. 26 minutes gone in the first half of this Women's Champions League final. As Leonardson Mornan picks it up, plays it back to Katie McCabe, but they just look composed, Arsenal, don't they, as they steer it all the way back through Catley to Van Domselaar.
Yeah, they've got a really nice structure behind the ball, and one thing I really do like about this Arsenal team is that every single player on that pitch is really competent with the ball.
Lovely bit of space for Caldente, really well closed down by Aitana Bonmati, and then a beautifully controlled ball to Anna Badge. She's just so graceful to watch in possession. Aitana Bonmati, as Badge plays Paredes into a bit of trouble. Coy comes and helps her out with that back pass. Headed forward by Steph Catley, and now Leonardson Mornan goes for the curler. Oh, brilliant save, Coy. What an effort from Leonardson Mornan. It was curling just underneath that crossbar, and Coy at full stretch, showing why she's Barcelona and Spain's number 1. Arsenal corner.
That was an exquisite strike from Frida Mornham. She's so clever in the way that she turns, but do you know what I love about that? That attempt on goal, it comes from Steph Catley at the back, being super aggressive. I want to say nasty in terms of the way that she stepped in front, won the ball, headed it into the path of Marnham. And Marnham, she's so physical, that's why she's in that 10 position. She's got the ability to turn, use the ball, let it roll across her body, and fires it nearly into the top corner.
Arsenal corner. Chloe Kelly has the ball. She has the short option of Katie McCabe. It's Kelly who puts the ball down by the corner flag. You've got to say, on the balance of play so far, if Arsenal score here, they deserve it. Kelly chips it in. It's headed away by Barcelona and then volleyed over on the penalty spot by the captain, Kim Little. Met it first time, high over the crossbar, 0-0.
Yeah, it was love at first sight. The way that the ball dropped for Kim Little, oh my word. On the penalty spot, it's bouncing. I tell you what, as a number 10, as an offensive midfielder, that is everything you could ever dream of. The ball landing there, and she just lacked the composure just to keep it down. She snatched at it, went over the bar, but that would have been a huge goal at a huge time for Arsenal right now, when the momentum is rightly so in their favour.
Barcelona in possession midway through their own half. Well, Kim Little, the Arsenal captain, and Alexi Putellas, the Barcelona captain, are the only 2 survivors of the first time that these sides met in European competition back in 2012. It was a 7-0 win on aggregate for Arsenal in the last 32. To be fair, that was Barcelona's first 2 games in European competition. This actually is their 100th match in UEFA European club competition, as they give away a foul over on the far side. Good work by Caitlin Ford. Patea speaking before this game, you know, about where she thought the club would go at that point. Unthinkable to imagine what has come now. It's been an incredible evolution, and for so long, Izzy, your former side Lyon were the queens of Europe, the 8-time winners. They're still the record champions, as Arsenal don't make the most of that throw, and the ball is Barcelona's midway through their own half. But in terms of recent form, I mean, it's been all Barcelona, looking to win it for the 3rd time in a row, for the 4th time in total, but all in the last 5 years. They really have established a stranglehold on this competition, and if Arsenal were to upset the odds, and to do so they'll have to put in a great performance, and so far that's what this is, even though it's 0-0. It would be one of the greatest results in their history as they have the ball on halfway.
Yeah, it's poised. You know, I said some Arsenal fans staying in our hotel, they were asking me my thoughts on the game, and I'll come back to that.
Because Chloe Kelly's coming down the left-hand side. It's laid off to the edge of the area and just won't break for Arsenal. Really clever layup from Russo. She had Ford and Leonardson-Morgan right on the edge of the box, and Barcelona just get the ball away as it goes out of play for a Barcelona throw. Izzy?
Yeah, it was just, I said to the Arsenal fans in the hotel when they asked what my thoughts were, and I said, I just think that you've got to get to half-time in the game. You know, by that I mean drawing or ahead. And so far, so good, because I really feel that will give Arsenal the best possible chance to go forward and make history again.
But here is where Barcelona can be dangerous. Bit of space for Graham Hansen down this right-hand side. Infield to Bonmati. Now Graham Hansen with sliding challenge by Katie McCabe. Might have left a tiny bit on Carolina Graham Hansen there, but...
It's not like Katie McCabe to do that, is it? Leave a little one on the player. But no, that's what you've got to do. This is what you've got to do. You've got to be nasty at the right time.
And here goes Bonmati on one of those dribbling runs, but the shots can only lightly sting the palms of Daphne van Donselaar, who watched it all the way. 0-0.
Yeah, she's let fly a couple of times inside the box. Bonmati, you know, she's probably the most deadly player in those areas, arriving into the box, getting her shots off, faking shots, cutting the ball inside and then getting a shot off. But she's not beaten Van Donselaar yet.
Oh, that's a really good ball by Emily Fox. Caitlin Ford onto it. Lovely footwork by Katakoi. Flags up anyway. It did look as though it might be that marginal offside. The referee is happy for play to continue. Yes, she is. But beautiful goalkeeping and very calm footwork under pressure from Katakoi.
Yeah, it's the type of sort of trick you do if you're playing with really, really young kids, you know, playing a bit of football in the garden or something, and they come and press you and you just dink the ball over them and you feel amazing because you've just dinked the ball over a toddler. And that was exactly what Katakol just did then in a Champions League final.
Here come Barcelona, a little foot in by Caldente on Bonmati, but Barcelona still have it. Arsenal working so hard though here in Lisbon as the shade creeps across the pitch. It is just covering half of it now, nicely bisecting the centre circle and between the two goalposts. A little arc on it as well at the Estadio José Alvalade, the home of Sporting Lisbon, but the hosts of the Women's Champions League final. It's goalless, 32 minutes gone here on 5 Live BBC Sounds and BBC Radio London as Arsenal look to win the Champions League for the 2nd time as Barcelona come forward, but that pass into the area is cut out by Emily Fox, not quite on point. She clears the ball away, gets a little nick off Pateas, won't quite carry it out for a throw. Rolfer trying to keep it in, but can only steer it behind for an Arsenal goal kick. Izzy Christensen.
Yeah, Alexia Pateas has been quiet, Rolfer's been quiet. I just think that Arsenal, you know, they've done really well marshalling those spaces that Barcelona are looking to exploit in behind. You know, defensively, how long can they sustain this? How long can they stay this focused for? But they'll do it in chunks, do it in sections. 32 minutes in, so far so good for Renée Slegers.
So far so good, but how vital is it that Arsenal score while they have this momentum?
That's a great point, really good point. I mean, I was thinking getting to half-time in the game in terms of a draw, but if they can get into the game, you know, when the momentum, like you say, has been in their favour, a goal up to show for it, it'd be magic for them.
Barcelona in possession on halfway, and I think this is the thing with this Barcelona side. Once they score the opener, you often see them relax, and they could do so here. Down the left-hand side they go, ball cut across, deflected behind for a Barcelona corner. Really good running from Sweden's Fridolina Rolfer, and Caitlin Ford back there defending. Barca corner.
Yeah, she celebrated that like a goal, Caitlin Ford, because she was caught sleeping a little bit. Rolfer, her counterpart, got in behind her and she had space to pick out anything she wanted, but the recovery run from Caitlin Ford was outstanding.
Boos from the Arsenal fans as Claudia Pina right in front of them prepares to swing this corner in. It's poor, it's cleared away by Steph Catley, picked up by Bonmati again. A touch slightly lets her down. Might have been put off by the referee Ivana Martincic being there as the ball is back into the Arsenal penalty area, cleared away again by Arsenal, picked up on this right-hand side by Barcelona. 12 minutes to go in this first half. It's goalless in the Women's Champions League final as Graham Hansen swings it in. Van Domselaar gets there, good punch on the edge of her 6-yard box and steers the ball away from danger as well, and Emily Fox will try and run it clear, and she's done really well there, the USA international, and she can find Arsenal on the halfway line, but the foul is committed on Frida Leonardson-Mournem. And Mournem will win the free kick, and a little high five there with Emily Fox, who defended that superbly.
Yeah, it's a series of superb moments from Arsenal, because the first one, the ball whipped in from Graham Hansen. Van Domselaar, brave, big, she gets a brilliant hand to the ball, moves it out of the space, the danger area, and then Emily Fox gets on the second ball, drives up the pitch, realises she's got no options, and she just turns on the afterburners and gets Arsenal back up the pitch. Brilliant bit of play to get out of a defensive set piece.
So the England captain Leah Williamson sends the ball forward. It's intercepted at the back by Barcelona and Wolfer, and they could be in down this left-hand side. Danger here for Arsenal as Barcelona into the penalty area with Eva Pyle, their top scorer, really well dispossessed by Leah Williamson, and Arsenal under pressure, hold it up with Leonardson-Mournem midway through her own half, out to the right-hand side, and Emily Fox will send it forward, flicked on looking for the run of Alessia Russo, but Mappy Leon is there and should be able to steer it. Where's she going to steer it? I thought she was going to go back to Coy. Now eventually she does. So already on 5 Live this afternoon, we've seen Northampton beaten by Bordeaux in the Champions Cup final. We've seen Sunderland score a late goal to beat Sheffield United 2-1 at Wembley in the Championship playoff final and return to the Premier League. And we're deep in extra time between Aberdeen and Celtic. Still 1-1 in the Scottish Cup final. That's over on Sports Extra 3. And we will, of course, keep you right up to date with the closing stages of that here on BBC Radio 5 Live. 10 minutes to go until half-time here in Lisbon, and it is still goalless in this Women's Champions League final. Arsenal playing a Barcelona side who beat Chelsea 8-2 on aggregate in the semi-finals. They beat Wolfsburg 10-2 on aggregate in the quarter-finals. They have swept all before them in Europe this season, but so far it is no exaggeration to say that the Gunners, looking to win this competition for the second time and the first since 2007, have been the better side. But here come Barcelona. Graham Hansen, bit of space. Will she go for goal into the penalty area? So many red shirts around her. Can't get room for the shot as yet, but still in possession. Forced out of the box eventually, and Caldente racing to get to that ball before Rolfer, but she can't do so, and Barcelona pick it up just inside the Arsenal half. Played forward, looking for the run down the left-hand side of the 2-time Ballon d'Or winner, their captain, their queen, Alexia Putellas. Left-hand side of the penalty area, 2 red shirts with her. Putellas down to the byline, pulls the ball across, and it's nodded behind for another Barcelona corner.
Yeah, it's brilliant bit of play, the switch of play again. Using the switch of play, Barcelona, and they're also using the spacing behind, and they're just getting the players into spaces where they're causing Arsenal problems. And I'm a little bit bemused as to why Graham Hansen, she sort of did a traversing run from right to left inside the box. I don't know why she's not pulled the trigger with her left foot, but anyway, who cares from an Arsenal perspective. But Barcelona, you can kind of feel they're starting to sort of turn the screw a little bit, getting Putellas in behind, getting this corner again. But Arsenal have defended these set pieces really well so far.
They've played this one short though. They've got 2-on-1, now 2-on-2 as they swing it in, and Van Domselaar's there again, punches, could have possibly claimed that, just about does enough. Barcelona have it again, right hand side, 0-0 here on 5 Live, BBC Sounds and Radio London, as Graham Hansen this time does go for goal just outside the penalty area with that left foot. Must have heard you, Izzy, even though we're way high up in the stands here in Lisbon, and Barcelona have the ball on halfway.
Yeah, I doubt she's playing with 5 Live in her ears, but that was the strangest decision in terms of when not to let fly with her left foot. Really strange decision making, but nonetheless she is a world-class player.
Here come Barcelona down the left-hand side, and field to Alexia Putellas, and now for Lina Rolfer. Patrick Iaro has a brilliant ball. Putellas into the penalty area, tries to chip it through, and the block is made by Leah Williamson, and Arsenal should be able to clear with their captain Kim Little. She's well pressured by Pina, and the ball will eventually bounce out for an Arsenal goal kick. Full time in extra time at Hampden Park. Hayley Barber.
We go to penalties in the Scottish Cup final. Celtic for the second time this season in a cup final will have to see it decided by a penalty shootout. Aberdeen looking to emulate the team of 1990 who lifted the Scottish Cup by beating Celtic on penalties. It is tense, it is frantic, it finished one apiece after extra time. Penalties next.
And you can listen to that over on Sports Extra 3 as the ball is up towards halfway. Cleared forward by Barcelona. 0-0 in this Women's Champions League final. And as Catley plays it back to Van Domselaar, and she's been such a revelation at centre-half, hasn't she, Steph Catley? Yes, she's played there before in her career, but Renee Slagers, when she replaced Jonas Heideval in the autumn, brought her in, put her at centre-half, and she's been immense. Yeah,
it's been brilliant. You know, she's been one of the keys to the Renee Slagers era so far. And that sort of balance she brings to the team with her left foot. And do you know what I love about it? She's taken it on board like a true champ in terms of, you know, she's taken on the role, she's learning it on the job, but she's doing such a good job. And what I love about Steph Catley is her aggression and her ability to play with her left foot. She's got such a beautiful left foot on her, and her and Katie McCabe on this left-hand side are forming a really nice partnership.
Barcelona in possession. That's nicely trapped over on that far side for Barcelona as they come forward once again. Ball into the area looking for Eva Pio. It's cleared away by Leah Williamson. A few last-ditch clearances from the England captain as Barcelona pick it up with Pina. Blocks by Fox, tries to swipe it away. Pina can't latch onto it, and Williamson will have to clear. She's forced down to the byline by Pina and cuts the ball out to that right-hand side. They really are trying to play out under pressure, Arsenal. Sometimes, I'm sure those Arsenal fans over on the far side must think, look, just get it away. They do win a throw over on the far side. That's cheered to the rafters by the 4,500 travelling Arsenal fans over there in that pocket of sunshine. Lisa Christensen.
Yeah, I think in the game so far, I've got to give big credit to Leah Williamson because she's defended that sort of front post area so well. She's read the play really well, and she's stifled anything that Barcelona put into that gap, that sort of her sort of marshalled space. She's read it and she's cleared it and she's dealt with it, and that's been really big for Arsenal in this first half.
And they've got it midway through their own half. Arsenal, Leonardson Mornham loses out there. And a bit of a late challenge there. No, referee Ivana Martinčić says get up to Patrick Guijarro, and Barcelona get on with it down the left-hand side with Bateas, but can't defeat Kim Little, who's back there defending. And it will be cleared away by Emily Fox. And it really is a full circle moment for Leah Williamson. In 2007, when Arsenal walked out for that second leg of what was then a two-legged UEFA Women's Cup final, that's what this competition used to be known as, against Umeå, the big dogs at the time, the Swedish side. Leah Williamson was a mascot at 10 years old as Barcelona play the ball into the area. Graham Hansen's there. Oh, she's claiming for a handball there, as are the Barcelona fans around us. We do have VAR, it will be checked. Two Arsenal players were there, but now they bring it up towards halfway. Stabbed forward by Caldente, too much on that for Russo. And Irene Paredes, who has had an own goal, rightly ruled out for an offside against Arsenal in the build-up. Already in this match, manages to play it back to Katakoi. It's goalless, 3.5 minutes to go, plus added time in this first half here on 5 Live, BBC Sounds and Radio London, as Graham Hansen plays the ball forward, looking for that run of their top scorer, Eva Pio, but Arsenal intercept. A reminder that the Scottish Cup final has gone to penalties between Aberdeen and Celtic. You can listen to that over on Sports Extra 3. Just go to the BBC Sounds app and scroll through the radio dial at the top and you'll find Sports Extra 3 on there. And of course, have your say this evening on 6:06 with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton. Sure, we'll have plenty to say about that Scottish Cup final, whichever way it goes, as Arsenal have possession on the halfway line. Played back to Steph Catley and field now to Mariona Caldente. Bateas manages to get the foot in, and it's stabbed forward by Pina, looking for the run of Eva Pio, but intercepted again by Leah Williamson. But Caldente is dispossessed, and it's cut forward by Pina, but well intercepted once again. And Emily Fox has it for Arsenal. Interchanges passes with Leonardson Mornham, who has it once more. Lays it off over on that right-hand side to Emily Fox, who plays it all the way back to Leah Williamson, who in turn goes all the way back to Daphne Van Domselaar. 2 minutes plus added time to go in this first half. It is still Arsenal 0, Barcelona 0 in the Women's Champions League final as Katie McCabe picks it up left-hand side. That's a good ball for Caitlin Ford, if she can reach it before Badje. Ford down to the byline. Really good sliding challenge from Badje. But it looks as though, no, it's going to be a goal kick. Caitlin Ford has her hand on her head, but there's not too many protests there, so Well,
I'm not sure.
And seeing the replay, it doesn't look like it got a deflection at all. It looks as though Badge touched it not once but twice. And I'm surprised Ford didn't complain more, but it's 27 degrees in here, is he? Maybe she's saving her energy for other more useful things.
Yeah, it's a corner. It really is. It's really good from Ford and Katie McCabe combining down this left-hand side, and I would say Caitlin Ford has had on a batter on toast in this first half. I think she's had the better of it, and she's world-class fullback.
Arsenal have nicked possession, and here they go. Mariona Caldente against a former club, tries to feed it to Russo, who does pick it up on the edge of the area. Caldente once again, Barcelona shirts all around them, so plays it to Ford, who swings it in, and Rolfa can let it bounce behind for a Barcelona goal kick. They're into penalties in the Scottish Cup final. Let's go to Hampden Park, Ailey Barber.
It is advantage Aberdeen. Captain Callum McGregor missing the first penalty for Celtic. Upset Aberdeen captain Graham Shinney. He stuck his into the roof of the net. Johnny Kenny has just scored Celtic's second. It is one apiece. Aberdeen, though, about to take their second penalty.
And commentary over on Sports Extra 3. Just go to BBC Sounds and you can find that via our app. Out to the left-hand side go Barcelona into the final 30 seconds plus added time of this Women's Champions League final first half. And Mapi Leon has it on the edge of the penalty area as the shade continues to creep across the pitch here in Lisbon, and Leon just slows the play down. But again, Izzy, Arsenal will be so delighted with this first half, the way that they have pressed Barcelona, the way that they've caused them problems, but they haven't found that goal. They haven't found one that will stand. They had one ruled out for an offside in the build-up, and Barcelona just starting to look more and more dangerous every time they come forward as they have the ball on halfway.
Yeah, I just looked at the clock here to my right, just glanced, and it was 32 minutes a minute ago, and now it's 45. I do not know how 13 minutes has passed so quickly. It's been absorbing, it's been intense.
Here goes Graham Hansen, chips the ball into the area, all the way across goal. And Arsenal will pick it up over on the far side again. Brilliant defending by Emily Fox. She has been so good since arriving at Arsenal back in January 2024 as we enter 1 minute of added time at the end of this first half. Barcelona's ball into the area, and Van Domselaar does well, dives on it and claims for Arsenal. Izzy Christensen.
Yeah, Van Domselaar's been outstanding in this first half. Whatever treatment she's had medically to pass her fit to play in this game, she's looked like she's been playing the last 15 games consecutively, because she's sharp, she's commanding, and also on the ball she is like a 12th outfield player in terms of the way that she circulates it. It's added real rhythm to Arsenal's back four when playing out.
Leon under pressure from Russo, who gets the foot in, goes out for a Barcelona throw. Well, they patched her up for the second leg against Leon, got that ankle through it, and that was absolutely huge. They patched her up for this, and so far as the half-time whistle goes, Arsenal have given a brilliant account of themselves against a brilliant Barcelona side who are looking to win this trophy for the third season running. But so far, so good, Izzy Christensen, for Arsenal. 0-0 at half-time.
Yeah, brilliant from Arsenal. Really good half. Perfect, if anything, apart from the goal. Missing a goal. They obviously had that one chalked off for being offside, the own goal. But if you're a Barcelona player right now inside your head, you've got to dig deep. You've got to look yourself in the mirror and go, how much do you want this? Because nothing worth having comes easy. And they've been rattled in this first half by Arsenal. And it'll be a real test of character to see which Barcelona team comes out in the second.
Well, they said all the right things in the press conference that I was in yesterday at this stadium about, you know, how you can't, of course you can't take it for granted. Just because we've won it before doesn't mean we'll win it again. Is it complacency or is it nerves?
I think they're worried. I honestly think the execution of the game plan for Arsenal's been brilliant. I'm seeing Barcelona being patient. They're trying to pick Arsenal off in the sort of unexpected moments and then catch them on the counter-attack. In terms of the build-up phase, they've looked most effective, Barcelona, when they go in behind Arsenal's back four, but they've got nothing to show for it. 2 entries into the box from Bonmati that have been good and looked dangerous, but on the whole I think Arsenal defended really well, and they're going to have to do more of that in the second.
They made history 18 years ago, Arsenal, when they became the first and still so far only British club to win this competition. If they are to triumph this afternoon, it will be one of the greatest nights in their history. And they are very, very much in this game. At half-time here in Lisbon, it's goalless in the Women's Champions League final.
Straight to Hampden, Ailey.
Where it falls on Celtic fullback Alistair Johnston to keep Celtic in this cup final. A miss by captain Callum McGregor in the first penalty of this penalty shootout. It means that Alistair Johnston needs to score. It's saved! Dimitar Mitov saves the second penalty. Wait, the referee's hand is up. The referee's hand is up. Was he off his line? He puts his hand to his ear. His arm is raised. It is fine. It is Aberdeen who'll win the Scottish Cup final for the first time in penalty shootout against Celtic. There will be no domestic treble for Brendan Rodgers this season because Aberdeen have defied the odds to become Scottish Cup winners once again. It was 2 own goals in the 90 minutes that got us into extra time. The first coming from Aberdeen defender Alfie Dorrington, and then late on, after Celtic had dominated, Kasper Schmeichel somehow deflected across into his own net. They couldn't be separated in extra time. Penalty shootouts is where the difference was found. Save from Dimitar Mitov to captain Callum McGregor. Perfect penalties from Shinnie, Polvara, Daba and Palaversa. And then another save from the Bulgarian goalkeeper to deny Alistair Johnston. And it is Aberdeen who will win and lift the Scottish Cup final 2024-25.
Ailey, even on a mad busy day, we've got more time to be able to drink that in. So just tell us what's happening down there on the pitch, in the stands for those Aberdeen players and supporters.
It's absolute bedlam. We spoke before the game about how Jimmy Talleen had accusations of not knowing his best team, how they'd been on a pretty poor end to the season. They ended up finishing 5th in the Scottish Premiership. They led the way after 8-9 games of the season, so to finish 5th was a real disappointment, but he got it spot on today. He played a back 5. He really frustrated Celtic. They couldn't, for all their possession, find a way to break down what was a really strong, resolute and defensively solid Aberdeen team. Then in the second half, he brought on some of those forward players. The pace of Shayden Morris that forced Kasper Schmeichel into the mistake. Papa Gay came on. Odai Daba, forward players, forward-thinking players. They grew into the game in the second half. And when it went to extra time, they had opportunities, as did Celtic, to win it then. It did come down to penalties, but perfect penalties. You cannot ask for more than that. And Graham Shinnie, on his 300th Aberdeen appearance, is the captain who will lift this Scottish Cup here at Hampden Park. It's a sea of red to my left. They are absolutely delighted. They said their season hinged on the success in this Scottish Cup final. Well, in his first season as Aberdeen manager, in his first ever Cup final as a manager, Jimmy Talleen has delivered, and for the first time in 11 years, Aberdeen will lift silverware once again.
Well, what a remarkable story. Congratulations to Aberdeen, who have won the Scottish Cup, beating Celtic on penalties. Jimmy Talleen's Aberdeen joining the side in 1990, coached by Alex Smith, the last team, as Ailey was saying, to win that Scottish Cup for Aberdeen. And it was on penalties, and it was against Celtic, and it was at Hampden Park. Well, we've been in 3 absolutely phenomenal British stadiums this afternoon on 5 Live Sport. Aberdeen's glory at Hampden. Sunderland at Wembley Stadium upsetting the odds, beating Sheffield United by 2-1. They will be back in the Premier League next season. Some great North East derbies to look forward to once again. And here in the Principality Stadium in Cardiff, Northampton Saints gave absolutely everything. It wasn't enough. Beaten by the brilliant Bordeaux Beg. We've got more reaction to come from here and to the other big stories. And then it'll be time for second half commentary in the Women's Champions League final. What a day of sport. Stuart Clarkson's got the news.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Steve, thank you. A woman and 3 of her children have died in a fire in Stonebridge in northwest London shortly after 1 o'clock this morning. 2 other members of the same family are receiving treatment in hospital. A 41-year-old man has been arrested. A 15-year-old boy from Cardiff's been arrested on suspicion of assault after a 16-year-old died at an amusement park yesterday afternoon. South Wales police say Tahara Sumrove, also from Cardiff, died on Barry Island after suffering a medical episode. Police have asked anyone who was there and may have information to contact them. Ukraine and Russia say they've each swapped more than 300 prisoners of war. It's the second exchange in 2 days. A third is expected tomorrow. And 9 children of a doctor working in a hospital in southern Gaza are reported to have been killed in an Israeli strike as the Israeli military continues its offensive. The IDF says its aircraft struck a number of suspects operating from a structure in Khan Yunis. It says the claim regarding harm to uninvolved citizens is under review.
Fans are in the grandstand, the boats are in the harbour, the cars are on the track.
On 5 Live.
It's all ice to the lights and foot to the floor as we go racing in
the most famous race in the F1 calendar, the Monaco Grand Prix. Tomorrow from 2
On 5 Live and BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sport.
with Steve Crossman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Well, speaking of the Monaco Grand Prix, as we say time and time again, pole position in Monaco means more than any other race. And on pole, Britain's, McLaren's, Lando Norris for the Grand Prix tomorrow, finishing a 10th of a second ahead of Ferrari's Charles Leclerc. Leclerc's won it before. It's his home race. Championship leader Oscar Piastri will be in third. One of the big stories of the day, Sunderland back in the Premier League after 8 years away. Tommy Watson scored an injury time winner. They beat Sheffield United 2-1 at Wembley Stadium in the playoff final. Tommy Smith still with us, playoff final winner with Huddersfield Town. Listen, Tommy, that North East football, as you and I both know, is pretty special. The noise when that goal went in must have been something.
Oh, well, if the roof was on, it'd have been blown off. Make no mistake about that. It looked as though the game was fizzling out to extra time. It almost felt as though both teams were sort of readying themselves for extra time. And then a moment of brilliance from the substitute, Tommy Watson. He's curled the ball in the bottom corner. And I'm not kidding, from where we were sat up in the press box, it felt like it was shaking. The Sunderland fans have been unbelievable all game, all day. And they deserve this moment.
It is such a massive achievement for a manager who's come into the league with no experience of it, Regis Lebris, at the start of the season, who wasn't actually even appointed until the very back end of pre-season, and more than anything else, Tommy, with a team without parachute payment money, like that is massively difficult.
It is, yeah, and listen, they've got a very, very young squad, one of, if not the youngest squad in the league, and they've come up against a team today in Sheffield United who've got a big squad, really strong squad, and I think all the signs before the game were probably edging towards Sheffield United winning today. But the job that Regis Lebris has done, as you've just touched upon there, throughout the whole season, certainly to come this far and finish in 4th position behind, let's get it right, 3 big teams who you would have tipped to be in and around it at the start of the season. He's done an incredible job, and he deserves a lot of credit. Towards the end of the season, it looked as though Sunderland were tailing off a little bit. They went into this playoff campaign on the back of some really damaging defeats, really. So to turn it round and overcome the playoffs and navigate the way through, he, as I say, deserves a lot of credit.
Your former manager Chris Wilder did a heck of a job last summer in terms of sort of washing off the feeling of relegation, which, as you know, can be very, very difficult to go again. Now he's got another challenge, a different challenge, just as difficult, do you think, coming back from this?
Listen, it's going to be very difficult to get over this. I'm sure Chris and his team and the players will be devastated going into this evening, but they've got to regroup. That's one thing that Chris Wilder is. He's resolute. He has been for his whole career. I've got no doubt in my mind that given the opportunity, he'll come back stronger from this. It's just one of them things, unfortunately. I think on the day, on the whole, the first half, Sheffield United probably edged it. But going into the second half, it just felt for me like they just sort of stepped back a little bit too deep and allowed Sunderland onto them. But as I say, Sunderland deserve their moment today. They thoroughly deserve the win and an opportunity to go into the Premier League next year.
Good on you, Tommy, and congratulations on a great career. Always great to have you on.
Thanks, Steve.
Brilliant. Tommy Smith there, who is retiring from football, leaving Middlesbrough now, and hopefully we'll get the chance to have a bit of a holiday. Let's talk tennis. Novak Djokovic has won his 100th ATP Tour title. He's beaten Hubert Hurkacz in 3 sets, and correspondent Russell Fuller can tell us more.
3 hours and 5 minutes it took Steve as he came from a breakdown in the deciding set to win the decisive tiebreak and, as you say, bring up title number 100. Third man in the Open era to score a century. Roger Federer finished with 103, Jimmy Connors with 109, Martina Navratilova with 167, so he's not going to catch her, but it's his first title since the Olympics last summer. He was 38 2 days ago, and here's another statistic that underlines his brilliance and his exceptionalism. He's the first man to win a tour-level title in 20 consecutive seasons.
And knowing Novak Djokovic, Russell, he won't be thinking, oh, amazing, I've finally done it. He'll be thinking, and this is great clay court time for me ahead of the French Open.
And the celebrations were minimal, at least immediately after he won the match. An ace to clinch it, not much in the way of emotions because he knows he's heading straight to Roland Garros. He's a little bit lucky in that he doesn't need to play until Tuesday for the first time. He's up against the American Mackenzie McDonald. He's in the same quarter of the draw as last year's runner-up Alex Zverev. He's in the same half of the draw as Yannick Sinner. I think it is going to be tough for him because that was a 3-hour match today and a 3-set semi-final against Cameron Norrie yesterday. So he's not going to feel quite as well rested as he normally would be going into a Grand Slam. But yes, still gunning for Grand Slam title number 25 as Roland Garros gets underway tomorrow. No British players in action, but we'll have commentary on the world number 1 Arina Sabalenka from 11 o'clock on Sports Extra and BBC Sound. Steve.
Thank you very much, Russell. Let's get some more reaction from here in the Principality Stadium. Northampton Saints losing 28-20 to Bordeaux in the final of the Champions Cup. Sarah Orchard's been speaking to Phil Dowson, Northampton's Director of Rugby.
Phil Dowson, huge commiserations. What are your overriding thoughts and feelings right now?
I'm immense proud of the effort. Of course, we can be better technically and tactically, and it's a bitter experience, but at the same time, sometimes you need those from which to learn. And immensely proud of the effort throughout the season, not just today, but again, today we went toe-to-toe, and I can't fault that.
Did you ever expect quite as much drama in a final as actually unfolded?
I'd rather it was less dramatic. Obviously, a lot of TMO checks going backwards and forwards created quite a slow game, but frustrating about injuries going off early, and that obviously has an impact. But the guys that came off the bench were exceptional as well. So we just didn't quite get enough of us on the pitch to put them under enough pressure.
An exceptional number of injuries, but just a word on George Furbank. We know he came out and that he was sitting with the team. Is he okay?
Yeah, clearly he's a bit sore. That's one of those rugby, a bit of dumb luck really, rugby accidents. He's okay. Clearly he's bitterly disappointed. I think that's probably the most painful thing for him, and we'll look after him and make sure that he's in good shape moving forward.
That's Phil Dowson. There'll be more reaction on the Rugby Union Weekly podcast. In the cricket, England by an innings and 45 runs beat Zimbabwe. 21-year-old Shoaib Bashir took 6 second innings wickets, 9 in total, and Aberdeen have beaten Celtic in the Scottish Cup final. More reaction to that to come between now and 7:30. That's when 6:06 will be with you. There's a Champions League to be won before then. Vicky Sparks.
There is indeed, and Arsenal are very much in this final as their players re-enter the pitch here in Lisbon in the sunshine. Now, I have to say, Steve, we're heading towards 6 o'clock here as we are in the UK, and it is still absolutely sweltering, but the shade is creeping across the pitch, and you do wonder, Arsenal focusing so hard in that first half, closing Barcelona down, working out how to find those spaces, playing so well. But you do wonder, how much the heat is going to take its toll on this game and on these players, particularly if we head for extra time and penalties. Well, it is one of those where anything could still happen. Barcelona into the field of play here in Lisbon as Arsenal go into their huddle. And Barcelona's players now moving towards the penalty area. And Izzy Christensen, when we look in terms of what Arsenal need to do in this second half, they've done it so well in the first half. Do you think we'll see any tweaks to the gameplay or the game plan? And almost as importantly, if not more so, are we going to see a Barcelona side more galvanised in the second half than they were in the first?
Yeah, it's, firstly, brilliant first half from Arsenal. I thought they executed a game plan perfectly, minus scoring the goal. And I just think that they need more of the same in this second half, Arsenal. I don't think anything too major needs changing, other than can you be a little bit more ruthless in the final third? Can you go and push on and have that final execution to score a goal? And they've got to be ready and alert and focused on whatever Barcelona tweet. We'll keep an eye on that up here, of course, and try and deliver what Barcelona do differently. Barcelona have not been good enough yet.
So Arsenal get us underway. A huge 45 minutes coming up for the Gunners as they look to win this trophy for only the second time in their history. And they have scored very quickly after half-time in both the quarterfinals and the semi-finals so far this season. And they were looking for something from kick-off right there, but the ball into the penalty area, too much on it from Katie McCabe to Caitlin Ford, and it's all the way through with Kiasa Coy.
Yeah, they're just trying to go early, going behind Barcelona and just make them turn and face their own goal. just challenge any kind of enthusiasm they've come out with in the second half and just sort of say, no, hang on, this is our game. We want this just as much, if not more than you. Just going to continue with the same type of press, but Barcelona switching the ball really nicely. Left to right.
Yeah, here they go with Bonmati out to the right-hand side as they're driving towards the penalty area. Graham Hansen's delivery is poor, though. Emily Fox steers it away. Safety first. She knew that Pina was right behind her and she played it out for a Barcelona corner.
Yeah, it's just, from Emily Fox there, defended it well, positioning excellent, but does she really need to concede a corner there? That could have gone out for a throw-in. Now this gives a little bit of initiative, a little bit of impetus to Barcelona to start this second half with an attacking corner.
So Aitana Bonmati, the Ballon d'Or two-time winner, the current holder, is over to this near side in front of the Barcelona fans, and they take it short. They've got 2-on-1 here. Arsenal not quite switched on as Bonmati plays it to the edge of the area. And now Pina goes for goal, and Van Domselaar watches it all the way. Well, she was 25 yards out, Claudia Pina, but we've seen her score some stunners in the competition this season, not least at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea in the semi-finals.
Yeah, not a bad strike from Pina, but just Barcelona there, just recognising that Arsenal defending set pieces really well, and they've not had much change in the first half with their attacking corners. They decided to work it short and try and work that opportunity into Arsenal's box, but Arsenal regain the control of the game here.
So they're in possession, Arsenal, midway through their own half. No changes for either side at half-time. Arsenal with Van Domselaar in goal. Their number one patched up from an ankle injury. By hook or by crook, they've got her on the pitch, and she's such a big player for them. The back four of Emily Fox, Leah Williamson, the England captain, Steph Catley and Katie McCabe. Ahead of them, it's the Arsenal skipper Kim Little and Mariona Caldente, three-time Champions League winner with Barcelona. And then Chloe Kelly, Fridolin Olsen-Mornham and Caitlin Ford supporting Alessia Russo up front as the whistle goes. Russo is fouled on halfway, just as Barcelona were breaking away. And Arsenal will have a free kick just inside their own half. So Barcelona with Katakoi, the Spain and Barcelona number one in goal. We'll take you through the rest of their lineup in a moment because Caitlin Ford has it. Left-hand side for Arsenal into the penalty area up against Onabaje. Ford goes for the drive. It's blocked away by Barcelona and Irene Paredes, who saw an own goal ruled out, rightly so, for an offside in the build-up in the first half as Barcelona have it outside their own penalty area. And here is Paredes once more, picked up by Guillaro. Now nicely fed to Aitana Bonmati, but she's still just outside her own penalty area. Again, Barcelona employing the press well, but Barcelona work their way around it out to the left-hand side, and Fridolina Rolfö, the Sweden international, who usually plays further forward, but is so experienced at left-back for Barcelona, but she really offers an attacking threat down that left-hand side as well because of her more natural position as Guillaro picks it up midway through the Arsenal half. It's goalless here on 5 Live, BBC Sounds and Radio London. It's Pateas, Pina, Bonmati, little 360, Pina into the penalty area. Barcelona going through the gears and it's off the bar. Van Domselaar rooted to the spot. Barcelona still coming back heel from Bonmati. Didn't get the purchase and Van Domselaar gratefully dives on it.
Wow, you just got to sit back and admire it and enjoy this play from Barcelona. It's tiki-taka, it's 1-2 touching around the box. They release Pina, she shifts it onto her left, it takes a little deflection off Emily Fox, which carries it onto the top of the bar. Second phase is a little flick, a Cruyff flick from Bonmati, which is tame into the hands of Van Domselaar. But I tell you what, attacking masterclass there from Barcelona. The torch has been lit at half-time.
Yeah, that's more like it from the reigning European champions as Arsenal win a free kick just inside the Barcelona half. Our referee Ivana Martincic as well has brandished the yellow card towards Irene Paredes, who's not having, well, she's not having an uneventful game. She did see that own goal in the first half ruled out, fortunately for her, but she's now into the book for that challenge.
It would have been so unlucky. I'm just watching a replay of that Pina shot that's hit the bar. Van Domselaar, like you say, Vicky, was rooted to the spot. And I'm just watching a replay now of that yellow card incident with Irene Paredes on Caitlin Ford. She catches her late, and I think it's good refereeing, to be honest with you. Barcelona have committed way more fouls in this game than Arsenal have.
So while we wait for Arsenal to take this free kick, let's just rattle through the rest of that Barcelona lineup. Coy in goal, the back four of Onabaje, Irene Paredes, who's just been booked, Matthew Leon and Fridolina Rolfö. Aitana Bonmati, Patrick Guillaro and Alexia Putellas in the midfield with Carolina Graham Hansen, Claudia Pina and Eva Pyle, their top scorer up front. They've got so much quality on the bench as well. Barcelona, the likes of Salma Parinuelo, foremost amongst those. So big cheers at the moment for Arsenal from the Barcelona fans, because Arsenal are taking their time over the set pieces. Well, they might though. They're holding a high line, Arsenal. 8 yards or so outside the penalty area. They've got a couple of players standing offside, and Katie McCabe is saying that Aitana Bonmati is not the required 10 yards. McCabe chips it in, goes all the way across the penalty area. Caitlin Ford forced it out of the box, but does control it for Arsenal. Down to the corner flag she goes. Can she win a set piece for the Gunners or feed it back into play? No, it's well blocked away by Pina, and then Ford eventually commits the foul going to ground. And Barcelona have the free kick on the left-hand side outside their own penalty area. 6 minutes gone in this second half, and we're still goalless in the Women's Champions League final.
Yeah, it's class from Barcelona just to absorb that Arsenal pressure that Katie McCabe had full control over on that free kick. She's looked to in-swing the ball on the set piece, and she's just taken her time over it, and that was much to the frustration of the majority of the stadium who are Barcelona fans. They've just recognised that Arsenal are starting to manage the game really well.
Here goes Graham Hansen, switches the play over to the left-hand side. Pina controls with her shoulder and plays it forwards, looking for the run of Aitana Bonmati. It's Pina once again. Good footing from Emily Fox for Arsenal on the edge of the area, and then played back by Kim Little. Little hand of apology to Leah Williamson, because that back pass put her under a little bit of pressure, but Williamson, the England captain, does well and clears over halfway. Here come Barcelona down the left-hand side once more with Fridolina Rolfö. It's goalless, and that in and of itself is no mean feat from Arsenal. They conceded 12 goals in their last 3 games, and Barcelona tend to score almost every single time they play. As the ball is worked out to this left-hand side, Aitana Bonmati plays it infield to Bateas. Lovely turn inside the box, pulls it back to the edge of the area, and the shot is driven in and flies just past that far post from Ona Badje. Oh, she caught that very cleanly indeed. Fortunately for Arsenal, off target.
Yeah, it's fizzing play from Barcelona in and around the box. It's tight, it's intricate, it's of the highest level. And interestingly, that was a terrific strike by Ona Badje, right back, finding herself high inside. The best 2 chances in this game have fallen to the right backs of both teams, and that is so interesting, because those are the players you probably least want them to fall to. But that was a terrific strike from Battier.
Former England midfielder and Champions League winner Izzy Christiansen here with us on 5 Live BBC Sounds and Radio London, as Alessia Russo heads the ball down on the edge of the centre circle, and then Little's dispossessed, and here goes Eva Pyle. Can't find a teammate, and it's cleared away rather nervily by Steph Catley. Out for a throw over on that far side, and the Barcelona fans in the sunshine cheer and raise their arms and wave their flags as their side retain possession over on that far side. Goalless in the Women's Champions League final as Patri Guiaro plays it out to the right-hand side, and here goes Bonmati on one of those dribbling runs. Ball played into the area, it's cleared away by Arsenal, but Barcelona come again. Claudia Pina, though, well dispossessed by Emily Fox, who is having an absolutely outstanding game at right back for Arsenal as they work it all the way back to Daphne van Domselaar. But we talk, Izzy, about the fact that Barcelona score pretty much every time they play. Out of their last 121 games in all competitions, they've only failed to score in 2 of them. What is it that Arsenal are doing so well here? Because, we say they've shipped so many goals in their last 2 games, but it's not just about Van Domselaar, who was absent for those, coming back in goal, as Mappy Leon has it over on the left-hand side for Barcelona and plays it to Rolfö deep in their own territory.
Yeah, you'd be surprised that the impact of the goalkeeper, Van Domselaar, it sends a ripple effect into the back 4. But ultimately, you defend and you attack as an 11. And I think Arsenal so far, they've done exactly the right thing in terms of engaging in duels at the right times.
But Barcelona are starting to click ball into the area from Bonmati, is claimed by Van Domselaar, but it's those combinations now just starting to bear fruit. Badje and Graham Hansen and Bonmati that time going over to help out on the right-hand side.
Yeah, they've done so well, like I said, Arsenal, in terms of engaging. They've looked high energy. It just comes a matter of how long can they sustain this level for, until Slegers needs to look to her bench and put fresh legs on.
Yeah, this is a good little spell for Barcelona as they play it out to the left-hand side. Here is Fridolina Rolfö up against the outstanding Emily Fox for Arsenal. No way through, so Rolfö goes back to Mappy Leon, the centre half, midway through the Arsenal half at the moment, as Barcelona really squeezing Arsenal back as Guiaro picks it up, plays it out to the left-hand side, and Rolfö once more as Barcelona slow the plate of walking pace and looks to unpick the lock of this Arsenal defence as they get a foot in eventually. Arsenal, Chloe Kelly, and Barcelona's players protest as that throw goes the way of Arsenal. That is a fascinating side conversation as well, isn't it? The future of Chloe Kelly, on loan from Manchester City since January, returning to Arsenal. Said in the build-up to this final that she was in a really dark place in January, was even considering taking a break from football before she managed to get back to Arsenal. As Putellas picks it up, plays it looking for Payol. Williamson blocks the effort not once but twice, the second one from Pina. But Barcelona really pressing here to take the lead in this Women's Champions League final. Here's Graham Hansen, slides the ball through, it's cut back but can only find the Arsenal captain Kim Little from Onabaje, and Arsenal can bring the ball away, but they're really under pressure here, the Gunners.
Yeah, it's so good from Graham Hansen and Anna Battier getting in that sort of blindsided run. Do you know what's fascinating about that? She cuts it back into a really inviting area for a Barcelona player to step onto it and get a shot off. Kim Little reads it, and the reason she reads it is because she knows that she'd want to attack that ball herself in Barcelona's box, and that's what makes her so effective in that position she's playing right now.
Oh, that's brilliant work by Alessia Russo down the left-hand side. First foray forward for Arsenal in this second half with 12 minutes gone. Leonard Simonim lays it off to Caitlin Ford, who's coming into a central position quite often for Arsenal just to try and combat that midfield three of Putellas and Bonmati and Guiaro as Arsenal work it out on the left-hand side. You can hear the chants of Arsenal around the stadium here in Lisbon. You can hear the boos and the jeers from the Barcelona fans who are outnumbering their Gunners counterparts. They say around 15,000 were expected to travel. The stadium is near full. It holds around 50,000. Of course, you'll have a lot of neutrals here as well, but I think there's more than 15,000 Barcelona fans in here. They're trying to make this feel like a home game. As Leah Williamson chips the ball in, no one had made the run inside the penalty area for Arsenal, and it's all the way through with Katakoi, Izzy Christensen.
Yeah, when Barcelona drop off Arsenal have got an opportunity to sort of go to a back three. McCabe tucking in, Catley as a central, and it allows Leah Williamson to advance a little bit as a sort of a right-sided centre-back, pushes Emily Fox higher.
Oh, Bonmati's given it away. Can Arsenal capitalise? The answer is no. Bonmati's picked it up again. She's so good at, even when she loses the ball, winning it back in those sort of areas. As Graham Hansen has the ball on the right-hand side. Badje on the overlap. Here she goes on a Badje, the former Manchester United player. Just got the ball caught under her feet there, so plays it back to Carolina Graham Hansen. But those two are linking up nicely on the right-hand side. Plays the ball in field looking for Bonmati. She gets the ball stuck under her feet, and a good foot in by the former Barcelona player Mariona Calente. But Barcelona pick it up once more. Here is Bonmati, so often at the heart of everything that Barcelona do, whether it's central, whether it's out wide. She's a brilliant player. Here's Putellas, 2 Ballon d'Or herself for the Barcelona captain, who picks it up outside the penalty area, plays it to Bonmati, and now out to the right-hand side, and Barcelona really starting to go through the gears here. They have the ball on the right-hand side of the penalty area. Arsenal trying to hold them up, and Caitlin Ford defending does really well, makes the block and clears out of play, but Arsenal dropping really deep here, and Paredes won't let that ball go out on the far side. We are seeing a different Barcelona in this second half as they play the ball forward once more. Chipped into the penalty area, right-hand side, headed away at the back by Steph Catley for another Barcelona corner. Arsenal at the moment, having had so much momentum in the first half, are just having to withstand relentless pressure from Barcelona.
Yeah, it's nothing they weren't prepared for. The emergency defending type scenarios. And just looks down here, the Barcelona bench. Peruello, who has got immense pace and power running in behind, and I just think Barcelona have recognised that Arsenal are on the rack right now. Can they smell blood?
Well, you can hear the slow clap from the Barcelona fans speeding up here in Lisbon as they take the corner short again. They've got 2-on-1. Caldente now comes out to make it 2-on-2. That ball in is cleared away by Leonard Simonim. Hasn't quite worked their set-piece routine so far. Now Zona Badje picks it up and plays it out to the right-hand side, and that's really well anticipated by Katie McCabe. Can she drive towards the halfway line? She's well held up by Badje, but Arsenal still have it. Then dispossessed just inside their own half, and here goes Putellas, and now Bonmati driving towards the penalty area. Goes for goal, and Van Domselaar makes the save, parries it away, and it goes behind for another Barcelona corner. Good reactions from Van Domselaar.
It's when you're at your most fragile, when you step and you think you've got a moment to attack the opposition, and Barcelona just win the ball back immediately. Etana Bonmati, her third shot of the game at Van Domselaar.
So Barcelona with the corner over on the far side. As Izzy says, Salma Peruello is preparing to come on. Interesting, they are so in the ascendancy at the moment, Barcelona, so it's a 60-minute substitution. We'll often see those, possibly pre-planned, but I wonder if they'll just hold off a little bit. The players on the pitch at the moment, they're doing all right. It's goalless. Can the holders find the breakthrough against Arsenal? Again, they play it short. Again, it's 2-on-1. Again, Caldente comes to just close the angle. It's played to the centre of the pitch with Onabaje, who goes for goal. It's not too far away, but it's the best part of 35 yards there. I'm a little nonplussed as to what Barcelona are trying from these set pieces, I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think they've just recognised that Arsenal have defended them really well in the first half. Just looking at this substitution, looks like it's Claudia Pina coming off and Peruello going on, who, like I said, her running power is up there with the best in the game. You remember watching her play in the World Cup in Australia for Spain. She was outstanding against England, and in the semi-final as well. She caused mayhem. She's come onto this left-hand side up against Emily Fox, and that is one to keep an eye on. That could be a problem for Arsenal.
Yeah, when she's on her game, Peruello, she is a superb player, and she could be involved very quickly here. Almost latches onto the ball into the penalty area. It's hacked away by Leah Williamson again. Brilliant reading by the England captain, and really good hold-up play there by Alessia Russo. Finds Chloe Kelly on the right-hand side. These forays forward are few and far between for Arsenal in this second half, and big cheers from the Barcelona fans as Mappy Leon dispossesses Chloe Kelly and then is then fouled by Chloe Kelly, and Barcelona have a free kick.
Yeah, brilliant bit of hold-up, number 9 play from Alessia Russo. She was tight up against Paredes. She spins her, whips it into the feet of Chloe Kelly, and we've seen Russo do that so often this season, but it was poor from Chloe Kelly. She's got to keep the ball. She's got to go 1v1 or hold back, keep possession, recognise the momentum in the game is starting to swing into Barcelona's favour.
And Barcelona it is in possession. Over on the right-hand side here on 5 Live, BBC Sounds and BBC Radio London. We'll have 6:06 this evening at 7:30, or after the conclusion of this Women's Champions League final. That goes all the distance to extra time and maybe penalties. Salma Peruello picks it up left-hand side of the penalty area. She's up against Leah Williamson. Peruello down to the byline, 2 red shirts with her, so pulls it back to Fridolina Rolfo. Nice footwork from the Sweden international, but still just outside the box. Cuts the ball across. Opportunity for Onabaje, who sends the curler in, and Van Domselaar almost spilled that. Eva Payol was right there trying to latch onto it, Barcelona's top scorer, but Van Domselaar did enough. Izzy Christensen.
Yeah, it's another shot from Onabaje, who seems to be finding loads of sort of free spaces. She's the son of outball, if you like, the player who's spare. Barcelona are finding her on the edge of the box, and I'm just looking at Chloe Kelly, and I wonder whether Renee Slagers might start thinking about making a change in that area, because she looks like she's dropped off a little bit in terms of the pace of the game. I want to keep an eye on. She's got the quality. Just wondering whether there'll be a bit of activity on Arsenal's bench and change that area.
Yeah, and indeed, you've absolutely called it there, Izzy, because they are about to make a double substitution. I'm just trying to see the tops of the red shirts there, but Beth Mead, it looks like, is one of them. Arsenal coming down the left-hand side. Oh, that's really good work. Could they have an opportunity here? Badge with the challenge. Arsenal have a player down. It's Katie McCabe. Referee completely unmoved by that. We do have VAR. They will be having a look at it. McCabe's still down inside the box. At first viewing, and we're very high up here in the stands, but it didn't look like there was too much wrong with that. And Barcelona will play the ball away as Katie McCabe is up to her feet as Pateas nods the ball on. Cleared away by Leah Williamson, intercepted by Guiaro. Lovely layoff from Bonmati, Guiaro, Pateas. That trio linking up nicely for Barcelona as they bring it down the left-hand side. Here is Fridolina Rolfo. Off the ball, Pateas has gone down. Play continues. Peruello loses it. Emily Fox has it now for Arsenal. Pateas still down, just getting up to her knees there. As Barcelona have it on the right-hand side. Here is Graham Hansen, goes for goal, and Van Domselaar can watch that wide, and that's a waste from Graham Hansen. And Arsenal have a player down. I think it's Katie McCabe, who did go down and ask for that penalty. So, a few things to pick out here. We're just seeing a replay of the penalty appeal for Arsenal. Izzy Christensen.
Yeah, it's a brilliant tackle from Onabaje. It's risky, but her feet are low. She gets the ball. And I'm just looking at what's going on here. There's a lot to digest here, and this is a commentator's worst nightmare, isn't it, Vicky? Because we've got substitutions, we've got free kicks, we've got delayed yellow cards.
Yeah, that's what you're here
and
for,
I'm not sure. Yeah, is that my job, is it? Okay, pass the buck. But
pick one of them and I'll pick the other.
Let's start here. I'll start here. Chloe Kelly's gone into the book for that yellow card on Alexia Putellas, and it looks like Beth Mead and Stina Blackstenius are coming on as double trouble to counteract what Barcelona have done, which is show their cards first with that substitution of Paruello.
So a little coming together off the ball between Kelly and Patea. So Kelly has been booked for that. It's Frida Leonardson-Mournham is one of the Arsenal players down. They've got another player down as well, stretching out with the medical staff. And it is very hot still here in Lisbon, even though we are into the early evening. And as you say, Izzy, Stina Blackstenius and Beth Mead preparing to come on for Arsenal as we approach the midway point of the second half. Still goalless in this Women's Champions League final. And either way, we're going to be heading for some late drama. And what drama we've had already on 5 Live this afternoon. The Scottish Cup final decided on penalties. Aberdeen denying Celtic the treble and winning the Scottish Cup for the first time in 35 years. A late goal for Sunderland at Wembley as they're promoted back to the Premier League, beating Sheffield United by 2-1 as the Mexican waves go around us. And before all that, Northampton beaten by Bordeaux in the Champions Cup final. And as this double change is set to be made, and it's Frida Leonardson-Mournham who is the first player to be replaced for Arsenal, and Stina Blackstenius will come on for her. Arsenal's top scorer for the previous 2 seasons, but has largely been used on the bench this campaign, although does still have 9 for the season. And do you think it'll be Chloe Kelly for Beth Mead?
Yeah. So
yeah, there we go.
I'm gonna stick my neck out here, Vicky. I think this substitution, this double substitution, is going to change the game. It's either going to change it for Arsenal or it's going to change it in Barcelona's favour, because this is a change of shape for Arsenal. They're going to go 4-4-2 and they're going to have Alessia Russo, I would imagine, dropping in and being a sort of false number 10, dropping in, and that's really, really clever from Renee Slagers, because Irina Paredes is on a yellow card. If Alessia Russo drops in and turns the way that she can turn on the ball and start feeding Blackstenius, Paredes is either going to foul her and get another yellow, or Russo's going to get the better of her. And this little moment here, how they execute this, is going to define this game.
Right, there you go. You called it. Izzy Christiansen, former England midfielder and Champions League winner, here with us on 5 Live, BBC Sounds and BBC Radio London. So, midway point of the second half, and we are still goalless between Arsenal and Barcelona. Katie McKay's back up to her feet and is ready to come on when the referee Ivana Martincic waves her on, and she does so now. So here go Barcelona. Bonmati picks it up midway through the Arsenal half, playing in the dark blue and red shirts, the dark blue shorts and the dark blue socks. Arsenal in their home kit as well, the red shirts with the white sleeves, the white shorts and the red socks, looking to win the Champions League for only the second time in their history, and their first in 18 years. They were part-timers when they won it in 2007. Can they repeat the feat? And as they did back then, upset the favourites on the day. They were so good in the first half. The second half's been Barcelona's, but it's still 0-0. Is this about to change? It's Bonmati. Pateas now just outside the penalty area, lays it off to Rolfo, plays the ball across, couple of ricochets and goes behind. Barcelona corner, how on earth did that not go in?
Yeah, it was the moment. They fizz the ball, they slide it right to left, and the recovering tackle from Steph Catley. Oh my word, that was outrageously good. And that just looked like a certain goal, a tap-in for Barcelona.
They really are knocking on the door, and you can hear the fans raising their voice inside the stadium here in Lisbon. They've got a corner on this near side. They take it short again. It's Bonmati to Mappy Leon. Now Bonmati once more. Left-hand side the penalty area. Oh, brilliant run. Jinks away inside, lays it off to Paruello. Now the edge of the box. It's driven in by Graham Hansen. It's blocked away by Arsenal, but they are so deep. There's no player even a yard outside their own penalty area, and they all stay deep as Barcelona pick it up in that little slice of sunshine over on the far side and pull it back to the halfway line. Izzy Christiansen.
Yeah, it's just Barcelona working it short again off that corner they had. They're trying to work it and pull Arsenal out of their shape and tease them and tempt them into jumping out and making some sort of erratic challenge. But Arsenal are standing firm. This is literally tense as anything. It's on a knife edge. You can just feel Arsenal need to get a foothold to see if they can change it now.
Here goes Paruello just outside the penalty area. Out to the right-hand side she goes. Katie McCabe standing up well against Carolina Graham Hansen. The ball goes out of play for a Barcelona throw. It's tight, it's tense. It's the Women's Champions League final here on 5 Live, BBC Sounds and BBC Radio London.
Yeah, Arsenal just suffering in these moments. They're being super disciplined, really organised on that far side in the sunshine. Like you say, the players will be very grateful for the bigger patch of shade we see on the pitch right now.
Yeah, it will cool it down slightly, but it's warm enough high up here in the gantry. Will be absolutely sweltering down pitch side. So much of this is going to be about stamina, about concentration, and can Arsenal get a breakaway here? It's Russo up against Paredes, and the whistle goes, and Paredes wins the free kick.
Yeah, you know what I love about this sort of change that René Slagers have made? It's attacking, it's front-footed, it sends a message, but also you've now got Russo and Blackstenius up against Mappy Leon and Paredes, and I know if that was a 2v2, who I'm putting my money on, I'm telling you that, and I'll tell the listeners after, but I think this could be a problem for Barcelona. It's like Russo's now got the ability to almost pass the ball to herself, because she's got a similar profile of player that wants to spin in behind in Blackstenius, and Russo's link-up play this season's been so good.
The problem for Arsenal at the moment is they can't get the ball, although Barcelona almost give it to them now. Oh, was that a handball there? We play on anyway. Here goes Stina Blackstenius into the penalty area, and the shot is saved by Katakoi. What a moment that was for Arsenal. Barcelona have a player down. It looks like with cramp in the centre of the pitch, and the referee's not going to stop it for that as Barcelona come forward now. Here goes Eva Payal out to the right-hand side. What a huge moment that was for Arsenal. Barcelona look to hurt them at the other end. Payal lays it off to Graham Hansen. She in turn finds Bonmati. Again, the red shirts surround her, but Barcelona still have it. Pariuela now lays it off to Alexia Putellas, whips the ball in left-footed, and the header just bounces on the roof of the net. End-to-end here in the Women's Champions League final.
Wow, the momentum and the pendulum in this game is just swinging left to right, right to left. Mappy Leon has got cramp. She should have been carded because she handballed it, and the Arsenal bench are furious, and then Barcelona win it back, go up the other end. They craft this chance here, and we're just watching a replay of that Stina Blackstenius one-on-one. Oh my word, that was her moment. Instant impact, so close to having an instant impact.
It's a huge save from Katakoi, but it is one of those things about Stina Blackstenius. It's critiqued about her play that she's not always clinical, and Arsenal have to make the most of these opportunities. She might get another chance here. Really good covering challenge by Irene Paredes. Arsenal corner. She's making all the right runs, Stina Blackstenius. Just needs to find the finish.
Yeah, it's perfect. You know, the combination play, Beth Mead coming on and looking really snappy on the ball. She's fizzing it into the feet, and then they're spinning in behind, using the space. And Paredes, she's going to have to take a Lucozade Sport or an energy gel or other energy drink, I don't know what, because she's going to have to do a lot of running in these last 20 minutes or so.
But you called it, Izzy, when these changes were made with 17 minutes to go in normal time. And I think we need to start saying that in normal time in this Women's Champions League final. The fact that Blackstenius and Russo can now play off each other, it has changed things for Arsenal. They've been absolutely under the cosh in this second half, but since that double change, Mead and Blackstenius on, they've started to get opportunities. Can they fashion one here from this set piece? It's Caldente, the former Barcelona player, to take this corner from the right-hand side. It's swung to the penalty spot. It's hooked towards goal. Barcelona get the header in, and Putellas will clear away, but it's Barcelona's turn to be deep. If Arsenal can keep it, yes, they can, through Kim Little. Out to the right-hand side, and Mariona Caldente. She's got options there with her. Katie McCabe, she wants to use her, but she goes to the edge of the area instead. Beth Mead cuts it in. Is this the chance? Yes, it is! Arsenal hit the front in the Women's Champions League final, and she was clinical that time. Stina Blackstenius steers the ball into the bottom corner. There is a goal check. VAR will have a look at this, but they found the space, Arsenal, and they hit the front late on in this Women's Champions League final.
What on earth are they checking for? I don't know. I'm just watching Caldente. Does she get onside quick enough? The check's over. It's a goal, and it's the two substitutes. It's Beth Mead and Blackstenius. We talk about impact. Oh my word! I am looking at this reverse pass from Beth Mead, and that is world class. Blackstenius receives it on her back foot, fires it across the face of goal into the far corner. Past Katakol. What an impact! What a double substitution from Slagers. And Arsenal now, can they hold on?
What a moment! What a moment for Stina Blackstenius. And do you know what? I've never seen a cooler celebration. She literally turned round, and we could see it from our position high in the gantry here in Lisbon, and was like, hey! So cool, so calm, so collected. selected. Well, we've said during her career she's been criticised for a lack of clinicalness. I tell you what, that will never be attributed to her again by Arsenal fans. They will not care if she has just scored the winner in the Women's Champions League final. Now what can Barcelona do? They play the ball forward into the penalty area. It's cleared away by Steph Catley. Well, what drama we've had on 5 Live this afternoon. We've had Sunderland scoring a late winner to go up to the Premier League at Wembley. We've had Aberdeen beating Celtic on penalties in the Scottish Cup final. And now Arsenal, against all the odds, are ahead against Barcelona here in Lisbon in the Women's Champions League final. But here come Barcelona, last-ditch defending now from Arsenal. And that's going to be the pattern for the last 14 minutes. Barcelona corner.
Yeah, it's game management. This is going to be do or die for Arsenal right now, because they're going to have to defend for their lives. Barcelona are going to chuck the kitchen sink at them. Everything they've got is going to come onto Arsenal right now. How can they defend? They've defended so well so far. They need 15 more minutes plus extra time.
As we say, Barcelona have only failed to score in 2 of their last 121 games. This doesn't happen to them. They've got a corner. Arsenal lead 1-0. Barcelona swing at the corner and it's deep and it's blocked behind at the far post, but the ball had gone out of play before Van Donselaar made that save. And Arsenal still lead, and we have 13 minutes plus added time to play here on 5 Live BBC Sounds and BBC Radio London.
It's absolutely sensational from Arsenal. The game plan, the management, the execution of it, and they've got to hold on for a very, very long 13 minutes plus additional, like you say, Vicky. This is where we really see what they're made of.
Oh, and they could be in a behind again, but Barcelona steer that ball eventually safely back with Mappy Leon, and she can't continue. She's making that universal substitution sign that all football fans will recognise, rotating her hands around each other. But the ball is still in play and eventually is put out of play. Now, that's interesting. Did Katie McCabe just put that out? Oh, it's Arsenal have got to play it down. I was thinking, there's no way that Katie McCabe has put that out so Mappy Leon could be substituted. But Arsenal have a play it down. I wonder if Katie McCabe had seen there that Mappy Leon was saying, look, I can't continue, I've got to come off. She wouldn't care a jot about whether Caitlin Ford's injured or not in the centre circle. She'd say, quick, let's get another attack before Barcelona can make that change.
Yeah, this is an opportunity for Arsenal just to take on board fluids, you know, diffuse the game a little. We're just watching a replay of the goal on our TV screens. You know, she's had 2 chances in the game since coming on. She scored 1, missed 1, 50% strike rate from Stina Blixtenius. You know, what an impact. What an impact that is from her. It's unbelievable. And Arsenal now, they've got to hold on to this with everything they've got, defend for their lives and be composed, be calm, be focused, because they've been that all game. But do you know what? In fact, I'm not going to go early on this, but I'm going to come back to it full time if it stays like this, because Beth Mead, what an impact as well. Outstanding from her.
So double change from Barcelona. Caitlin Ford is still down. Ingrid Schuster-Engen is on, replacing Mappy Leon. And Esme, that's pretty much like for like. Engen can play in central midfield, but often plays at centre half. And then Esme Brooks is on for Fridolina Rolfo, and that is a more attacking change. So, hold on to your hats, Arsenal fans. 11 minutes plus added time to play in the Women's Champions League final. 18 years since Arsenal last reached this stage. They are the first British club to reach 2 Women's Champions League finals. What a moment this would be if they could dethrone the reigning champions, the holders, the side who are looking to win this competition for the 3rd year running, the side who are challenging the historic dominance of Lyon in this competition. They look like the new Lyon, but it could be Arsenal's evening as Barcelona come forwards. But that ball is loose. It almost is picked up by Pateas, but Kim Little, the captain, brings it forward for Arsenal. Heroines they need now on the pitch, and Mead plays it forward. And here is the goal scorer, Stina Blackstenius, right-hand side. She's closed down by Esme Brooks, and Arsenal just need to keep all of that game management, all of that nous in their heads now, as Emily Fox does just that, steers it back to the England captain Leah Williamson, as Arsenal's fans raise their voices in the sunshine over on the far side. 4,500 of them have travelled from the UK inside this nearly full 50,000-seater stadium here in Lisbon. They are vastly outnumbered by the Barcelona fans, but it's their side that lead, and it's their side coming down the left-hand side. Chip ball into the area, too easy for Casacoy.
Yeah, Caldente there, just making the run in the channel from midfield. And I just think now, put the reins on a little bit. You don't need to make those channel runs, just be compact. It's just whether Arsenal just want to push for the right moment to maybe go and get a second and catch Barcelona off guard. But just keep the shape as much as possible.
Here goes Sam Apariuelo down the left-hand side for Barcelona. It's Arsenal who lead by a goal to nil as Barcelona work it out to the right-hand side. And Badge, and now Graham Hansen, right-hand side of the penalty area, pulls the ball across, brilliantly cleared away by Leah Williamson. Goes out to the right and Barcelona pick it up once more. Williamson's interception and reading of the game this evening's been on point.
Yeah, that was another one. That was a beautiful ball in from Batier. She just fires it across. It's Santana Bonmati who was just lurking for the tap-in. But like you say, Williamson just read it, intercepted it.
Danger not over yet as Barcelona come forward. It's Bonmati. Badge drifts the ball across and it will bounce on the roof of the net, and time continues to tick away. 9 minutes plus added time to play. That is how long Arsenal have to hold out against Barcelona to win the Women's Champions League for the first time in 18 years, for the second time in their history. No other British club has done what Arsenal have done. No other British club has won this European trophy, and Arsenal are now 8.5 minutes plus added time away from doing just that once more.
Yeah, this is really tight stuff. Arsenal in a position right now where they want to be. Alessia Russo in the channel.
And they're coming forward once more. Could this be a second for Arsenal? It's cleared away by Barcelona. Kim Little won't get a foot on it, and now Barcelona can counter over the halfway line. Here goes Sam Apariuelo. Arsenal working so hard to get the red shirts back. In field now to the Barca captain, Alexia Putellas. They are brimming with quality, Barcelona. They can still hurt Arsenal. So can this woman. Bonmati, little deflection, will take it behind for a Barcelona corner. And we've got 8 minutes plus added time to play in the Women's Champions League final.
Yeah, it's been symptomatic of Barcelona's approach to this game. I'm going to be really critical of them here because I just don't think they've looked like winners today at all. I just don't think they've had that grit and that bit of nastiness about them. I think they've rocked up and expected to win. And this last 10 minutes or so, give them a chance to turn that around, because that's my perception of them so far in this 80 minutes. They do not look like they've had enough conviction about their play.
It's their 9th corner of the game. The two-time Ballon d'Or winner, Aitana Bonmati, stands over it on this near side. Plenty of runners in the penalty areas. Bonmati dinks it in, but again, Williamson is there. Barcelona try and squeeze it towards goal through Paredes. Arsenal clear once more. Badge picks it up, right-hand side, ball delivered in. It's headed away by Katie McCabe this time. Again, all hands to the pump for Arsenal as they try and keep Barcelona at bay. The Gunners lead by a goal to nil as Putellas swings the ball in, and Van Doncelar is there and claims on the edge of her own 6-yard box. And we have 7 minutes plus added time to play as Arsenal edge towards European glory.
Yeah, they just lack belief. It just looks like Lena Hurtig is coming on for Arsenal, and I'd imagine that's to do with her aerial ability. Slager's recognising that there might be a lot of aerial balls put into Arsenal's box in this last 5 minutes. It's just a massive question. Can they hang on? Can they do this? Because this would just be remarkable.
It would be, without doubt, one of the greatest nights in Arsenal's history. It would be an upset against a Barcelona side who beat Chelsea 8-2 on aggregate in the semi-finals. They thumped Wolfsburg 10-2 in the quarter-finals. And they've given the ball away, Barcelona, but Arsenal can't take advantage. Caldente, the former Barcelona player, picks it up once more. And now Ford to Russo, back to Caitlin Ford. Arsenal have the bodies in the penalty area. Here is Russo just outside the box. It's almost blocked away by Guiaro, but here goes Caitlin Ford, pulls the ball across. And Barcelona get a foot in and manage to get the ball away. And Arsenal have kept red shirts back, but Bonmati evades that challenge from Caldente really well. Still inside her own half. Over the halfway line she goes. She's got Graham Hansen on the right-hand side, and she uses her now as Arsenal get the red shirts back. They lead by a goal to nil. Good challenge by Katie McCabe on the edge of the penalty area, just blocking off Carolina Graham Hansen. And Katie McCabe screams at Carolina Graham Hansen, who went down and looked at the referee there and says, "Get up." And she's driving Arsenal forward. 5 minutes plus added time to play. Barcelona have a throw on the far side, and it's Arsenal who lead this Women's Champions League final by a goal to nil as Lena Hurtig comes on for Caitlin Ford for Arsenal.
Yeah, it's not a foul from Kate McCabe. Graham Hansen's been really poor in this game so far. She's not offered any threat. She's made the poor decisions in the final third. And Caitlin Ford, what a game. What a game she has had, because she has destroyed Anna Battier, particularly in the first half. I think she's run the channels so well. She's defensively been incredible, and she's getting her plaudits from the Arsenal fans in the sun on that far side. And Hurtig's coming on, who is leaving the club at the end of the season, so these will be her last minutes in an Arsenal shirt. But she scored the winning goal when Arsenal played Juventus in December in the Champions League, and I saw what that win meant to Slagers and her staff, because I think that almost validated the winning run that they've been on, and that was Hurtig's header. Can she do it again?
Well, what a story this would be for Renee Slager. She's been in charge permanently since mid-January. She had been in interim charge for just over 3 months, mid-October, after Jonas Eideval resigned. She had a brilliant start. She earned a permanent deal, and she could be about to win the Champions League with Arsenal. But Barcelona will still, you feel, have chances as they play the ball into the area. It's cleared away once again by Williamson. Barcelona have it once more. It's steered back towards halfway, and Sjöster Engen will pick it up just outside the centre circle. 3.5 minutes of plus added time to play in this Women's Champions League final. Out to the right-hand side go Barcelona as they look for an equaliser. Play down into the penalty area. Graham Hansen's there. It's cleared away behind for a Barcelona corner.
Yeah, it's brilliant from Catley, sweeping up the problems as Arsenal are defending on the back foot. Barcelona are evading into the area, and they've got an outswinging corner here. Hurtig's on the pitch to add that aerial threat for Arsenal.
As it's swung into the penalty area, it's cleared out of the box, picked up by Sjöster Engen, and all the way back to Anna Battier. She's 35 yards out. She plays it out to the right-hand side once more, and Aitana Bonmati, the two-time Ballon d'Or winner. They are so packed with quality, Barcelona, but it's Arsenal who lead this Women's Champions League final by a goal to nil as the ball is down to the byline. It's chipped across, fizzes across the 6-yard box. Arsenal want a foul. It's not given, but they have the ball, and they're running it clear. Good challenge by Esme Brooks for Barcelona, and it's picked up by Ingrid Sjöster Engen, and now Pariuelo just inside the Arsenal half. 2.5 minutes plus added time to play. Brilliant footwork by Pariuelo. Then did she catch the Arsenal player there? Yes, she did. It's Beth Mead who's down, and the huge cheers around the stadium in Lisbon are from the Barcelona fans. But those Arsenal fans over in the sunshine, waving their red flags, won't care a jot as Pariuelo goes into the book. It's really good play by Beth Mead. It is a foul by Pariuelo. She just catches her with her shoulder in the face, and time ticks on for Barcelona.
Yeah, it's clever from Beth Mead. She feels and takes the impact. But this just is perfect. This is paradise for Arsenal right now, because again, the onslaught of attack from Barcelona is just being diffused by this time taken to treat Beth Mead. The Arsenal players can just take a breather. They can calm, they can regroup, they can get on board a few more fluids, have a little word with the staff down on the touchline, and they can just see this out.
Well, a yellow card has been brandished by our referee Ivana Martincic to somebody in that Barcelona technical area. So we'll try and clarify who that was. But Mead is still down for Arsenal, but I mean, easy. We said before this game, this would be one of the greatest results in Arsenal's history. I mean, they have an unbelievable history, Arsenal. They are English football's most decorated women's club. 47 major trophies in all, plus 5 community shields. Where does this rank? Is this the greatest?
This is just incredible. This is just poised to be an historical night for Arsenal. And the way that they've done it, I love everything about it. I love the way that they've approached the game. I love the way they played. I love the grit, the determination, the belief. And there's been so many things that have aligned for Arsenal in this game, starting with the goalkeeper Van Damselaar coming back into the side. I think that's been massive. The impact of the substitutes and the resilience and the bodies on the line, it's just been an absolute joy to watch. It's almost like watching old school football. And on the contrary to that, Barcelona, I'm so disappointed in what they've done. I don't like the way they've gone about this at all. It's almost like a level of entitledness about them, and the way that they've approached this game. The body language has been poor, and they've just not found that bit but there is still a bit of time to go.
And they could be into the penalty area here, Arsenal. Can they find the goal to wrap it up? It's another chance for the goal scorer, Stina Blackstenius. It was a difficult one. She tried to dink it over Katakoy as she rushed into the penalty area and is behind for a Barcelona goal kick. But she's got the key goal as it stands. The goal that sees Arsenal lead this Women's Champions League final. As we enter added time, 7 minutes of added time. 7 minutes for Arsenal to hold on against Barcelona, the reigning European champions, the side looking to win this competition for the third year running. And Beth Mead back on the pitch has won another free kick. And to Barcelona, who have been so brilliant in the tournament this season, do they have enough?
Looks like Lotte Ruben-Moy is coming on for Alessia Russo, who has been absolutely sensational. Honestly, I'm going to say it, her trajectory this season has been so good to watch. Her football has been outstanding. She looks so happy, so focused, so present, so calm. And Lotte Ruben-Moy is just going to come on. I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal go to a back three or back five, if you like. And she'll just tuck in between Catley and Williamson and give them that extra layer of protection and just see this out. There's 6 minutes left.
And what a moment this is for Lotte Ruben-Moy to get on the pitch. She's a childhood Arsenal fan. As Stina Blackstenius comes forward, Arsenal's goal scorer, offside flag is up. And it will be a free kick to Barcelona. But for Ruben-Moy, when she was a baby in her cot, her aunt used to sing Arsenal chants to her. That is how far back her association, probably not voluntary at the time as a baby, but certainly voluntary since, goes with Arsenal. Came through their academy, left for a spell, playing in the US college football, and is now back. And what a moment this could be for her, for all of these players who have been heroines to a woman tonight. And they have got 5 minutes of added time to hold out for. But here come Barcelona. Never write off Barcelona as Pateas plays it forward. Cleared away by Emily Fox. Arsenal get the foot in. Blackstenius, the goal scorer, plays it to Beth Mead, who goes all the way back to her own penalty area. And Leah Williamson, a mascot the last time that Arsenal won the European Cup 18 years ago, thumps it out of play on halfway for a Barcelona throw. Here they go. Guiaro out to the right-hand side. Picked up by Carolina Graham-Hansen as Barcelona play it forward. It's a decent delivery and Williamson's there again. Heads it behind under real pressure for a Barcelona corner. 2.5 minutes of the minimum 7 have been played. It is still Arsenal 1, Barcelona 0 in the Women's Champions League final on 5 Live, BBC Sounds and BBC Radio London.
Yeah, it's a brilliant ball in from Patry. Switches the play. Bouncing ball in the box to deal with. Bonmati in swinging corner coming in now. The referee's just having a word with a few players in there with a bit of tussling. Just takes the rhythm and the momentum away from Barcelona for a split second. This is so tense for Arsenal right now.
The penalty area absolutely rammed as the corner is chipped into the edge of the box. It's helped towards goal. Williamson there again. It's there to head it away and the clearance will be completed over the halfway line and for Arsenal will bounce out of play for a Barcelona throw. It's taken quickly by Ona Badje. We played 3.5 minutes of the minimum 7 added on. It is still Arsenal 1, Barcelona 0 in the Women's Champions League final. Can the Gunners do it? The first time in 18 years, the second time in their history, against the side who everybody said were favourites and then some. Here come Barcelona looking for this late leveller. It's Graham-Hansen, pulls the ball across, but there's not a teammate there. It's cleared away by Arsenal. And Izzy, I'm loath to say it because we've still got 3 minutes to play, but overall Barcelona just have not been good enough this evening. But all they need is one chance. They play it in, they've got a corner, they've got one more chance. They might have time for a couple more in the final 3 minutes.
Yeah, one more corner, another one to add to the tally to Barcelona. And I tell you what, the delivery has been so poor from Barcelona on these set pieces. Looks like Poruelo's just going to nip out there and take it, in swinging into her left foot. What can they do off this? Arsenal set up, poised like pillars inside their 6-yard box.
Here goes Poruelo. Barcelona running out of time. It's swung to the edge of the 6-yard box. It's cleared out of the penalty area. Beth Mead trying to latch onto it. Good hold-up play from Mead, but she's lost it. Then gets a foot in. That was crucial. Took it away from Barcelona's top scorer, Eva Payo, who's been really quiet. And Arsenal could be away on the counter here. It's the former Barcelona player, Mariona Caldente, and Izzy Christensen to my right is saying, just slow it down, don't get overexcited. She does draw the foul, and that is exactly what Mariona Caldente needed to do there, and she's done it to perfection.
Yeah, it's funny because I've had two things enter my mind in the last 30 seconds or so. The one is the prospect of Kim Little getting her hands on this Champions League trophy, and the second is Mariona Caldente against her former club making a huge move to Arsenal from Barcelona, and she is minutes away from doing her old team over in the final. It's just incredible. Arsenal got full control here. Beth Mead over the ball, Caldente over the ball, attacking set piece, but I can guarantee they will not be attacking this.
And Izzy's right, they go to the right and Beth Mead, because we've got 90 seconds to play, and Beth Mead takes it to the corner. She's pressured by Esme Brooks. She tries to steer it back to Stina Blackstenius. The ball goes behind for a Barcelona goal kick. 75 seconds of added time to play. Arsenal lead Barcelona in the Women's Champions League final, but here come Barcelona and they bypass that Arsenal midfield and they come down the right-hand side. It's Graham Hansen. She's skipping past the challengers, but then she runs into trouble and it's cleared away by Arsenal. They can run it out to the left-hand side. And Kim Little plays it over the halfway line. There's nobody there, but she's got it away from the danger area. 50 seconds of added time to play. Arsenal are so close to European glory. Here come Barcelona. Will they get one more chance? It's played into the area. It's headed away by the childhood Arsenal fan, Lotte Vibbenmoy. Then Katie McCabe, was she taken out there? Referee says yes. Wow. She blows the whistle, and we've got 30 seconds. And that was greeted by a huge roar from Manuela Zinsberger and the other Arsenal substitutes. They are on the brink of history once again.
This is just spectacular stuff. Katie McCabe just taking the full force of that bouncing ball, using her body so well just to suck in the free kick. And on my watch, Vicky, as soon as Van Domselaar strikes this, there must be a glance from the referee to her watch. There must be a holding of her whistle to blow it, because Arsenal on the brink here.
We've played the 7 minimum added minutes. The set piece is taken, still we play on. The whistle goes, but it's not for full time. It's for a free kick for Barcelona. Premature celebrations from those 4.5 Arsenal fans over in the sunshine, and Barcelona get us moving quickly. This is it. It is now or never for the reigning European champions, if they're to level things against Arsenal. But there is no time. It is glory for the Gunners once more in Europe. They have achieved what so many thought could not happen. They have beaten a Barcelona side who have been quite brilliant in the Champions League this season. But so often it can all come down to one game, and Arsenal turned up today. Every single woman out there played to the best of their ability, with guts, with grit, for the Gunners. And Barcelona, quite simply, have been deservedly beaten. And Arsenal, after 18 years, are European champions once again.
I could not be happier for them. This is just an outrageous achievement. Like you say, against the European champions, to execute a game plan to the nth degree, to the perfect degree of measurement, to stifle a team that is littered with world-class talent. The processes were there, the resilience was there, the defending was there, the quality was there, the squad depth was there, and the brains from Renee Slagers and her staff, Aaron Dantino, Melissa Phillips, Kelly Smith, and all of the other backroom staff. Oh my word, they have produced the unthinkable, and they have just destroyed Barcelona. and I cannot believe it. Kim Little, fully deserved, is going to get her hands as captain of Arsenal on the Champions League trophy. This is incredible stuff.
And Izzy, there's so many things to draw out of this final, but that is one of the key things. This is utterly deserved from Arsenal. This is not a side who came and sat back and had 10 players behind the ball. And to be honest, if you win 1-0 doing that, fair play to you, if that's your game plan. But that's not what Arsenal did. They attacked Barcelona. They did what René Slager's asked them to do before this game. Be brave, be courageous, be disciplined. And every single player has given it absolutely everything, and they have deserved it.
Yeah, it's just been spectacular. I'm sure we'll get into the meat of the game in due course, but right now, the outpour of emotion. Arsenal just won the Champions League. This is just incredible. An English club, and we've said all along, Chelsea, their squad is built to win the Champions League. Arsenal have just turned on the accelerator. They shifted into gear 7, and they have just absolutely won it, and so deservedly. Execution of a game plan was just beyond belief. Unbelievable stuff, and I can't believe how entitled Barcelona have been today. I really can't. They've just been outclassed, outsmarted, outworked, and it's just been the most incredible story for Arsenal now to get their hands on the Champions League trophy.
And I've got to say, Izzy, and I'm going to give you massive props here on 5 Live BBC Sounds, you called it when they substitute. You did, so you look at me like that.
That's why they pay with the big bucks
like that. You called it. You said those substitutes were going to say the game. In the interest of fairness, I should say, either for Arsenal or Barcelona. But
I did say that at the time.
Yeah,
because I thought change of shape, change of personnel. Yeah. This is either going to go one way or the other, but nonetheless, the substitutes will change the game, and they did. And Beth Mead combined Christina Blackstenius. If you're a manager and you're writing your predicted game plan or your hopes for how it wants to play out, you do probably write, I want a substitute to come on and make an impact. They're probably fuming in the hotel earlier that they're not starting the game. But you know what? That's a lesson. That is a way to go and show the manager you are ready. And that just goes to show the terminology around substitutes. You don't call them substitutes, you call them finishers. Blackstenius and Beth Mead just finished the game off for what their teammates already started. Incredible.
Well, the celebrations, the party is starting here for these Arsenal fans in Lisbon. Beth Mead's on fire. That's what they're roaring to Freed From Desire. We will be staying with this on 5 Live for the trophy lift and so much reaction to come. But Steve, it is quite remarkable scenes here in Lisbon as the Arsenal players, for the first time since the final whistle has gone, run over to those screaming, cheering, celebrating Arsenal fans still in that pocket of sunshine across from us. What the Gunners have done here in beating Barcelona is quite remarkable, and this will go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, night in their history.
Izzy Christensen, I'm seeing facial expressions down there on the pitch which mirror the tone in your voice. I think I've known you long enough to say there's a little bit of disbelief there.
It's not disbelief in a disrespectful way.
No, of course not.
It's disbelief that they've executed the most perfect game plan in a game of this magnitude, on this stage, in this heat, against the Barcelona team, who are formidable. And they've just done it. And they've achieved it. And they're now celebrating with their fans in the heat of this stadium where the sun's shining on the red of the Arsenal fans. It's just incredible. Honestly, the players this season, Alessia Russo, Leah Williamson, Kim Little, Mariona Caldente, Beth Mead, Chloe Kelly, Caitlin Ford, everyone, Steph Catley, they have been outstanding. They've had a change of manager, they've stuck together, and they've just got their hands on the Champions League trophy. It's just incredible, Steve.
Let's bring Gilly Flaherty into the conversation, part of the Arsenal squad that won the Champions League in 2007, their only other victory. Gilly, how are you doing with all of these scenes, with all of those emotions flowing?
Oh, it's absolutely incredible. I've been watching it at home, and I think for the last 10 minutes my anxiety was going through the roof. Even obviously I've played for Arsenal, and I was fortunate enough to be involved in the last time it was won by Arsenal, but it was just absolutely incredible. It's so tense watching it on the telly, but I could not be happier for the club in as a whole.
Do you know, Gilly, it's funny because we're live now from BBC Radio Wales, and I've been in the Principality Stadium with a couple of Northampton Saints legends who were in the last Northampton team to win the Champions Cup, and watching them go through the ringer with their team, just missing out in a final. It's so similar for you, isn't it? But the opposite result. You know, now people aren't going to say, oh, Gilly was part of the last team to win the Champions League, because Arsenal have done it, made their own memories, made their own history, and wow, they are drinking it in.
Yeah, and do you know what? It's hard for a team, I think, because of Arsenal. It's always spoke about that final, obviously, when it was named, obviously, the UEFA Women's Cup. It's always spoke about. And I said it this season, when they got to the final, it's a chance for them to make their own history with this tournament, with this new format. You know, and I think a lot of people doubted Arsenal going into this game today. I think they was the underdogs. I think even if you talk about press conference beforehand of how obviously Barcelona were pretty much expecting to get the trophy, and for how they've played today is absolutely incredible, and it's unbelievable. I could not be happier at all for the club.
Izzy, I asked you about disbelief. There'll be so many of those Arsenal players that will have fully believed this was going to be their night long before the game, top of that list, and one of, if not the best performer on the night, Leah Williamson.
Yeah, honestly, you've got to believe it, you've got to see it, but then you've got to execute. And it's such a hard thing to do, to segregate the emotion and what's at stake of the occasion to the actual processes that get you there. And you're spot on, Steve. The way that Leah Williamson defended, I think her clearances, her reading of the game was back to the Leah Williamson we know of what she is capable of doing. She was absolutely outstanding. So was Steph Catley, her centre-back partnership. And I think Daphne Van Damselaar in goal as well. As soon as she came into the side, they rode the early pressure in the first half. I thought her resilience and sort of her commanding presence in that Arsenal 6-yard box set a precedent, set the tone for Arsenal. And honestly, I could go through the whole team. I think the whole team, all 14 players who featured on the grass. But I'm telling you what, there's a whole lot of other people who featured as well. But the players that played all performed above an 8 out of 10. And I think that is Champions League winning form. And on the contrary to that, Barcelona, highly disappointed in their performance, but they were made to suffer because of the way Arsenal played. Arsenal absolutely suffocated them, put them into places they did not want to be, challenges their perception of who they are, who you want to be, and ultimately they got inside their heads, and Barcelona had no answer whatsoever. And I think that's just a stroke of genius from Arsenal.
Vicky, I know you'll jump in and take over whenever it is that Arsenal go up to lift the trophy, because our pictures are quite a way behind you at the minute. But just on Barcelona, obviously most of our focus is going to be on Arsenal, but on the full-time whistle, there were tears, weren't there? These are serial winners, and it hurts.
Yeah, massively. And I think it's so interesting what we just touched on there, and what Gilly was saying about, the pre-match Barcelona press conference and the pre-match Arsenal, press conference, because of course players are media trained, and they say all the right things, and I don't think Arsenal. I think one of the key things for them was this underdog tag, and we spoke about it in commentary, that Leah Williamson, the England captain, saying, look, we understand we're the underdogs. On paper that is factually true, but we're not coming here with that mentality. And I thought that was interesting because we see teams feed into that all the time. You can play with an underdog mentality, it can be a real positive, but it just speaks to the belief that Arsenal had that actually, no, we might be underdogs on paper because of what Barcelona have done in the competition this season. Let's not forget, they decimated Chelsea, who won the treble in English women's football this season. They decimated them 8-2 in the semi-finals. They beat Wolfsburg 10-2 in the quarter-finals. There is a reason why they were big favourites for this final. But Arsenal didn't see it like that. Arsenal looked at themselves, they looked at their own qualities and capabilities, and as Izzy says, the game plan was executed to perfection. And I mean, Rennie Slagers, who becomes incidentally the first Dutch manager to win the Women's Champions League, she could not have planned this more perfectly. And amidst all the press conferences yesterday and people saying things that, were kind of very on point, one thing that did jump out at me from the Barcelona manager, Pere Romeu, he said, Arsenal play with fearless attacking intent, rapid wingers overloading the box, but we are masters at forcing opponents into our style. Well, they didn't today.
I'm just getting some quotes here from Alessia Russo, who was actually in tears on television when she was interviewed. She said, we worked so hard, it feels amazing. We suffered a lot, they're a top side. We knew we'd have to be happy without the ball, then our game changers would come on. We wanted it so badly, it feels surreal. We knew we could do it. We believed since the moment we started on this Champions League journey. Gilly Flaherty, just on that, Alessia Russo saying there, we knew we had to be happy without the ball and then get game changers on. That's the Renee Slegger's impact here, isn't it? That's the tactical master plan that Vicky was just talking about.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. And I think the substitutes, obviously, with Beth Mead and Blackstenius coming on, obviously they both linked up for the goal, but it was set up to a T. Do you know what I mean? The first half, they had to be patient, you know, and then the defending today, that is the best that I think I've seen Arsenal women defend this season, individually and as a team. You know, every single player stepped up. There wasn't a single player on that pitch today who had a bad game, but I think that's what it was. I think frustrate Barcelona, stay in the game for as long as possible, don't concede an early goal, and in the second half, can we try and stretch them? I think that's what Blackstenius does. She likes to stretch him behind, and she just is able to open it up. But it was a perfect game plan to a T for Arsenal, and that's why they're the winners.
Could you guys in the stadium, Izzy, just really feel the growing confidence? Because presumably as that game was going on, it was becoming more and more clear to those Arsenal players that their plan was nailed on, that they had cracked it, that Barcelona were the team suffering with the ball.
Yeah, I think the poignant thing for me was that Arsenal did suffer in the game. There were times where Barcelona had Arsenal right on the rack and it felt like something was coming. But what I noticed in those moments was that Arsenal didn't panic. There was never any sense of snatching at clearances or, players jumping out of shape when they didn't need to. Everything was done methodically. Is that a word? I don't know. I'm running out of words. Methodically, there we go, thank you. Everything was done so cleanly and there was no panic. They rode out the emotional time. You know, when it was really difficult and they suffered, they didn't react emotionally. And equally, when they scored, they didn't really react too emotionally. Obviously, the euphoria takes over in that moment. But the way they recentered themselves was remarkable. And I know, I'll give you a bit of insight here. I know the psychologist. He's not really a psychologist, but he's a team sort of development guy behind the scenes. Matt Donville, his name is, right? I worked with him at Everton. And he's big on mindfulness and sort of present and sort of calm. And, you know, the work that he's done, that he did with me on an individual level back at Everton, he did with a team. He then got headhunted by Arsenal. And I can see his impact on this team. And it really, really shows in those moments of high anxiety, of high pressure, the players are able to recenter themselves. And you'd be so surprised how, let's just say, for example, Katie McCabe does something erratic and reacts. It's how then your teammates around you react to that. Do you then get fired up yourself? Or do you control yourself? Because we go through moments in games of football where there are going to be high moments of pressure and anxiety, but how you react is the most important thing. And I think emotionally, the way that Arsenal acted from minute 1 to minute 97 was absolutely perfect. And that is why they got the better of Barcelona. They got in their heads. Because Barcelona are waiting for the joker in the pack in Arsenal's team to jump out at the wrong time and press, and then the space opens and then they start playing. But no one did that. Everyone was in unison, and I thought, you know, Julie said it, Vicky said it, we all said it. That was the perfect performance from Arsenal.
So are you physically sort of seeing that in that mentality within their expressions as well as within the actions that you've been watching on the pitch?
Yeah, we're lucky enough to have TV screens to our left here, which has given us close-up pictures because we are so high in the stadium. So I can't actually see the facial expressions of the players on the pitch, but I can see body language and I can see pointing and I can see negative body language. And on the contrary to that, when the cameras are zooming in on the Barcelona players, I'm seeing moaning and I'm seeing, you know, shrugging shoulders. I'm seeing sort of negative body language. I've seen it early on. Claudia Pina on the right-hand side, on the far left-hand side, in front of the Arsenal fans in the first half. She catches a late challenge from Chloe Kelly and she goes down moaning. And I'm thinking, you're not mentally in this game. And Arsenal are starting to get the better of you. And I saw moments like that twist in Arsenal's favour throughout the match. And ultimately, you know, football is about winning, but it's about the processes you get to winning. And I just think Arsenal had everything teed up, execution perfectly, and I thought they got the better of Barcelona today.
Gilly, I think I probably know the answer to this question, but do you remember Leah Williamson as a ball girl in the final in 2007?
I don't, but I do remember Leah Williamson when I was coaching. I think I was in the first at the time, but I was coaching. She was in the under-10s. And it's incredible to see her, obviously, now in this final, you know, and winning it.
Quotes from her coming in now as well. I'm so happy we changed the game plan in the week, and that paid off. In the first half, we had chances and we wasted them. We didn't realise how good they were. We just needed one chance in the second half and we took it. That is amazing, Izzy. They changed the game plan in the week leading up to the final. That takes guts.
Well, you got to back your ability, back your confidence. Arsenal do have a way of playing, but when it gets to these levels of football matches, the finer details matter. And I do think that they failed to score in the first half with a sort of front-footed attacking approach. So they went in at half-time, still in the game, which is important at 0-0, but they actually could have been 1-0 up. So you could almost, whether you class that as failure or not, it's up to you how you interpret that. But then they've obviously twisted it in the second half. And what I liked is Arsenal waited for Pierre Romero, the Barcelona coach, to blink first and show his hand, show his card. He put Paralelo on, which was clearly obvious. They wanted to exploit the space in behind Arsenal. And then Renée Slagers, 5 minutes later, she puts on Blackstenius and Beth Mead, changes the shape of the team. Russo was causing problems dropping in. Thought she was absolutely outstanding tonight. And ultimately, your two subs combined for the winning goal in a Champions League final. Incredible.
Barcelona players, Vicky, now making the walk that nobody wants to walk.
They are indeed. They're being greeted by Alexander Cheferin, the UEFA president, and taking those runners-up medals. This is bitter for Barcelona. They are not accustomed to this. They have established themselves in recent years as the dominant force in European women's football, but they quite simply were outmatched and outthought and outplayed today by Arsenal. And, you know, you look at the way that Arsenal withstood that real spell of pressure for around 20-25 minutes in the second half after a very even first half where Arsenal actually have been the better side. But the substitutes changed the game from Renée Slagers. And I'm like you, Steve, my ears pricked up when I heard those quotes saying they changed the game plan in the week. I mean, props to her. That takes courage. That takes, a little bit of inventiveness. That maybe takes waking up one morning and suddenly going, hang on a minute, maybe if we just did this. I mean, what an achievement this is for her. She was assistant manager at Arsenal before she took over, originally as interim in October, then permanently in January, and she's done what no Arsenal manager has been able to do in the last 18 years, and what no other manager, even Emma Hayes at Chelsea, this was always the one that always got away for Chelsea. No other British club has won this competition. No other British club has even got to 2 finals of this competition. Arsenal have, and they've won it twice. And having given Barcelona a guard of honour, Barcelona will now reciprocate for Arsenal, who are getting ready to make the walk up those steps, where they too will be greeted by Alexander Cheferin, and Josh Kroenke is over as well in Lisbon, the Arsenal co-chair. He will be amongst the party presenting the medals. But what a moment this is for Arsenal, and I think it's worth saying as well, they've had to do it the hard way at every stage in the Champions League this season. Their run started in the first qualifying round. They had to come back after a heavy defeat by Bayern Munich in their opening group stage game. That was one of Jonas Eidevall's last games in charge. Then they had to come back from 2-0 down in the first leg against Real Madrid in the quarter-final. They did that. They had to come back from a 2-1 deficit against the record European champions Lyon in the semi-final. They did that. They blew them away in France, and they have been absolutely immense against Barcelona this evening. And Izzy, as we see the players now mounting the podium, it will mean so much to all of them. But, for those childhood Arsenal fans like Leah Williamson and Lotte Wibbenmoy, for Kim Little, who's been there for so long, the captain who in a few moments is going to lift that silver trophy, which has the red ribbons tied on it now. What a moment this is going to be, and the emotions going through. I mean, you've won a Champions League, you know what this is like, but to do it for so many of these players, for a club that means so much to them, that they've been there for so long, that they've gone through so much with, it's glorious.
It's just beautiful watching the moment here, because Renée Slagers walked up first, collected a medal, and she was stood alone on the step in front of that sort of, what do you call them, a plinth that says winners on it. The UEFA Women's Champions League Final 2025, 2 Arsenal badges either side of it, and Renée Slagers was just stood there by herself waiting for the players to join her. She collected the medals, and I thought that was quite iconic, because she's a winner. she has just proven that the club, the trust that Arsenal have put into her to take over from Jonas Eidevall halfway through the season. Their winning percentage under her in Europe is in the 75% winning percentage in all competitions. She's been remarkable. They've scored the most goals in the WSL this season. They've played with flair, they've played with attacking creativity, but I'm telling you what, they defended like true warriors this evening. And it's just the most incredible story. They won't be able to believe it. I imagine these celebrations are going to go long into the night or morning for Arsenal, and there we go.
So Kim Little is handed the trophy. There's a big smile on her face, that gold winner's medal around her neck as she walks over, and with Leah Williamson with one hand on the trophy, together they raise it into the air as Lisbon lights up in the reds and whites of Arsenal. The most successful women's club in English football are queens of Europe once again. They've had to wait 18 long years for it, but they have utterly deserved it, beating a quite brilliant Barcelona side. And the smiles and the joy and the celebration for every single one of these heroines is utterly, utterly deserved. What a moment for Arsenal Football Club.
It's just incredible. You've just got all the players there and the staff carrying each other, sat there enjoying the moment, so tight, so collective. You've got a few Australian flags in there for Steph Catley, Cooney Cross and Caitlin Ford, and now they're singing to that famous anthem, We Are the Champions, all united, all together. You can just see what it means to them. What an achievement.
And it's wonderful for so many of these players. We see the goal scorer Stina Blacksteny is there, but players like Lena Hurtig, Amanda Illested, who are leaving the club at the end of this season. What a way to finish off this campaign as the silver trophy is passed around. They all kissed it on the way through, and this is Arsenal's day. These are Arsenal's celebrations. But just a word, Izzy, on what this means for English women's football, because as we say, they were the only side to win it back in 2007 from Britain. They're still the only side to win it. But for English women's football, how big is this that Arsenal have finally got the better that so many English teams haven't been able to do of Barcelona at the moment, but Lyon in previous years, the German sides when they were at their top of the game. How big is it for English women's football?
Huge. It's absolutely massive. People tuning in, listening to this now, wherever they are, back home or abroad, this is history that has just been made here in Lisbon, because this Arsenal team have defied the odds. They won't have believed there was odds, but they have defied the odds to dethrone this Barcelona team. And I just think that they deserve every single ounce of this. There are so many little subplots inside this, context for Arsenal Women's Football Club. But what it does for English football, I said 2 years ago in an interview on the BBC that I still think we're a couple of years away from winning. An English club is a couple of years away from winning the Champions League, and we all thought it might have been Chelsea, but it hasn't been. It's been Arsenal. And I wasn't asked 2 years beyond that because I didn't know. But Arsenal have just done it. And they've set a precedent. What it does for Arsenal Football Club, what it does for English football, what it does for the WSL. No one will quite believe the impact that this will have. But right now, this is not about the wider equation. This is about Arsenal. And what they've done today, and what they've done throughout the whole campaign, has been absolutely brilliant.
And this is a footnote, Steve, but an important footnote in the days to come and for next season. They're now directly into the league phase as well. They were going to have to go through qualifying again, which in the Women's Champions League is really difficult, and you can quite easily meet another giantess and get knocked out. But now, along with Chelsea, they go into the league stage, which is coming in for next season. But for the rest of the evening, and I'm sure for the days to come, for these Arsenal fans, those listening to us on 5 Live and BBC Sounds, and the fans lucky enough to be inside the stadium here in Lisbon, it is about celebrating European glory again. After that long wait, 18 years, as the players have all gone over to the Arsenal fans with that silver trophy. What a moment for Arsenal, and they have done it so incredibly, absolutely deserved. They're Queens of Europe.
and Gilly Flaherty, because this is your Arsenal team back in 2007 as well. I think it's just worth reflecting. These moments, these great things that we're seeing right now also give us the opportunity to remember the great work that's gone in the past, and Vic Akers, and how everyone lifted and took Arsenal and took you and the players that you played with to the Champions League trophy. We can't forget that either.
No, and I'm just watching it on my telly now. The cameras are on Kelly Smith, and who, one of the greatest players that's ever worn an Arsenal shirt, but missed out on that final as well against Umea, been through to suspension. And a lot of people wrote Arsenal off because they didn't have Kelly Smith playing. So for her to be a part of this coaching side, and again to be a part of a winning team, it's special. But I just think it's great for Arsenal women now that they're able to have created their own history, and everyone's still going to be talking about that 2007 win, but now they're going to be talking about this win in 2025, and it's huge for the club, and hopefully it pushed them on, especially in the WSL too.
Lisbon Lionesses, Izzy Christensen.
Barcelona got past the Del Nada tonight.
She's been saving that up all evening, Steve. I'm so glad that she was able to get
I didn't even tell you about it, but no, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I don't know where we go from that joke, but Arsenal and the staff, the players and the fans are all just united. And they got their moment singing North London Forever, and quite an emotional moment, and now it's broken straight back out into ABBA, which I can only assume is because of the winning goal scorer Black Stenius being Swedish.
Lovely stuff, all of you. Thank you very much indeed. Gilly Flaherty, and inside the stadium, brilliant commentary, Izzy Christensen and Vicky Sparks. What a day of remarkable underdog stories. Arsenal, Women's Champions League winners, first time in 18 years.